Welcome into FanDuel TV. It's Pegasus Week. The stars in the sport headed to South Florida for some of the biggest purses in the game.
This Saturday, we got ourselves $1 million race talking about the Southwest. This was the race that Mystic Dan won last year on his way to winning the Run for the Roses.
We'll be jumping into a little MVP Mondays, a look back to the weekend that was, and some of the big performances from Saturday and Sunday. What a fast start to the Monday card. Caleb Keller, Dubs Anderson coming to you live from our Los Angeles studios. CK, you were seeing them well last week, and what a weekend it was. The Grade 3 Lecomte Derby points on the line there. Certainly the marquee event for me.
Lots of rain there on Saturday at the fairgrounds with these big key races. We had our on-site coverage, which was tremendous. And, of course, it was a heck of an effort there. And one thing that we've seen to this point, Dubs, we talked about the Derby races, even the ones that don't have points, like the Mucho Macho Man that we've seen the Turfway preview, they've all been won basically gate to wire. So with Disco Time winning over the weekend, that was really the first time that we've seen a horse make a sustained run from off of the pace. And, Dubs, as we see the field this weekend, it was a big field, lots of contenders. A horse like Built was very well thought of, but this was a fun race on Saturday.
Disco Time pulling out all the moves on Saturday afternoon. Inclement weather was rolling through the fairgrounds, but it wasn't enough to slow down the chances. So taking a look at some of the best three-year-olds going into the Grade 3 Lecomte. Took Disco Time 9 to 5 short price, but absolutely lived up to the billing. Let's take a look.
And they're off in the Lecomte Stakes. Innovator broke sharp from the rail. Golden Afternoon with an early bid. Blinkered Optical is also close. Here come bids by Tough Catch and the Gun Runner Stakes. Built on the outside as they enter the first turn. It's Innovator. So Innovator's in front of Golden Afternoon with the rail. Tough Catch in third. Then comes Built in fourth. Optical in fifth. Dapper Moon is a wide sixth. Calling Card in seventh. Magnitude is eighth in between horses. 6 furlongs to run. Then Maximum Promise toward the inside. Disco Time together with Mo Better Than Good. Seattle Road is running in 12th. And Jolly Samurai is last of the 13. The opening quarter in 23.68 seconds. So with Jaime Torres, it's Innovator. Innovator dictates the Grade 3. Innovator's in front of Golden Afternoon. Tough Catch tracking third on the outside. They have then to Built near the inside part of the track running in fourth. Dapper Moon is fifth. Magnitude in sixth. To the inside Optical is seventh. Calling Card is a wide eighth and 8 lengths off this leader, Innovator. Then comes Maximum Promise. Disco Time still well back. 3 furlongs to go. Mo Better Than Good. Seattle Road and Jolly Samurai remains last of 13. It's Innovator, the front runner. Half mile for 16 to 1. Innovator 47.91 seconds. Innovator leads toward the quarter pole. From Golden Afternoon, who tries to narrow the margin. Dapper Moon with Calling Card on the far outside. Built toward the rail. And Disco Time tries to unwind on the extreme outside. Innovator looking to close this out after 3 quarters in 1 minute 13.38 seconds. 1 furlong still in front of Innovator. Golden Afternoon coming with a charge. Built is also moving up between horses. Disco Time on the outside. Magnitudes in tight quarters. Maximum Promise toward the inside. It's still Innovator. Here's Built, and on the outside, Disco Time for Florent Giroux. Disco Time, Disco Time, Disco Time, getting up in the Lecomte Stakes from Built Innovator.
Disco Time picking up 20 points towards the starting gate for the first Saturday in May. Didn't have it early, took a couple of bumps, had to face and overcome a bit of adversity, but absolutely rolling late down the center of the course, Caleb.
If there's one tiny weakness in his profile, it's that when he opens the gates up, he has a tiny little stutter step in his last 2 starts, and that stutter step allowed him to be forced to come from further off the pace, because I can promise you the game plan for this horse coming into the race was not to be that far back. They want to be sitting probably third at worst, and that's what they like about this horse. They have tactical speed, but with a little bit of a stutter step start, Built, the morning line favorite, came over slightly, and then they had to take a position towards the back of the pack, but still work with that wide trip.
From one of the back markers to a nice looking score there on Saturday afternoon. Saturday evening, and our very own Andy Bancone was lucky enough to catch up with the champ. Let's take a look.
Good morning from the fairgrounds. We're in Brad Cox's barn and checking in with our Lecomte winner. This is Disco Time, 3 for 3, and handled the stretch out beautifully last night. What a game performance, because he was kind of far back, and we spoke to Brad after the race. He was actually further back than they had intended. And this horse came with a massive run under Florent Giroux to get the victory. He showed a lot of game, a gutsy performance, and it was a deep field to say the least. So 20 points to the 2025 Kentucky Derby for Disco Time. Fun fact about him, he actually has a little dish in his face. And horses, when they're in the womb, can have like a leg pressed up against their face, and that's kind of what creates the dish. So I don't know if you can see, but he does have that little, oh, he likes that. He's in good order this morning, a little sleepy after his big effort yesterday, but assistant trainer Trey says he is perfect and in good form. So looking forward to seeing him on the next stop on the Louisiana Trail.
Thank you, Andy, and thank you, Disco Time, the winner of the Grade 3 Lecomte there on Saturday from the fairgrounds. Full of character, was full of run. You want to see that from a racehorse. Given that performance that we saw on Saturday, going against some of the other, I guess, best 3-year-olds in the division right now, Caleb, where does that put Disco Time in ahead of looking towards the first Saturday?
Well, there's two different ways to look at it because, Dubs, visually, looks like the horse could be close to the top of the list. Speed figure and time-wise, you got to pump the brakes a little bit because this was not an exceptional time. It was not exceptional speed figure. 78 Beyer, that's one of the lower Beyers we've seen, but I could write a small book on why that was way better than the Beyer reveals. Now, the Beyers are very accurate, but one thing they don't take into consideration is the amount of ground loss. That's what the Thoroughgraphs and Ragozins do. So I can promise you that his Thoroughgraph and Ragozin number will be way better than the Beyer. That was not his preferred style, and I don't think the horse was getting over the slop perfectly. If you look at his mechanics, Disco Time, to me, he looked way better on the fast ground. So probably wasn't his favorite track, wasn't his style, was way wide. So the 78 Beyer, the times, not the most inspiring after that race, but everything considered, it was probably better than the time and number indicated.
Disco Time picks up 20 points towards the first Saturday in May, the Kentucky Derby. So let's take a look at the updated leaderboard. No surprises here. Citizen Bull still sits up top, 40 points from the Breeders' Cup at the back end of 2024. Coal Battle with 20 and Disco Time now punches a way into that top 3 and Built also picking up, sitting there on 20 points as well, gaming to round out the top 5.
Yeah, that chunk right there, Dubs, 5 through 9. All those horses were in the Breeders' Cup Juvenile, and they're all waiting to hit the reset button. We're going to see gaming this weekend, but 5 through 9 were in the Breeders' Cup. They're ready to make their seasonal debut. And in terms of Citizen Bull, 40 points. He's the only one that's in the Derby right now. 40 points should definitely get you home, and he is the soon-to-be champion, as those eclipses will be announced later on this week. But good-looking trail, and as we go on the show, a lot of the conversation will be about the winner of the Lecomte, but the 2nd, 3rd, and 4th place finishers all have really amazing stories to tell based on their connections, not the connections that we normally see on the Triple Crown Trail. So the winner, we always see Brad Cox and Giroux up there, but 2nd, 3rd, and 4th, later on in the show, I'm going to tell you why this is so important for the connections that got Derby points over the weekend.
The road to the Kentucky Derby was running through the fairgrounds on Saturday afternoon, Saturday evening. And let's take a look at what else we have on tap. The Risen Star, midway through February, 50 points going towards the winner, and then the $1 million Louisiana Derby, 100 points, essentially a win, and you're in. East Avenue, a name that's popping up on a lot of radars at this point of the year. Caleb, Fairgrounds road to the Derby. What do we make of the chances and what we have seen from East Avenue early?
I mean, East Avenue, the buzz surrounding this horse. Okay, this was his win-2 back when he was still undefeated. He's had 2 wins to start his career, both in the lead. Dubs, this horse ran 9th out of 10 in the Juvenile, and still, he was like 15 to 1 in the Derby pool of the weekend. And I'm telling you right now, even off a 9th place dud, this horse is so well regarded. I wouldn't be surprised if he's the favorite in the Risen Star. So we've seen this in the past before. There's a horse named Dennis's Moment. And if you look at his past performances, to this point, East Avenue is Dennis's Moment 2.0. They had a smashing win at Ellis. They won a graded race in Kentucky. They both went to California for the Juvenile as the favorite. They both stumbled from the rail position and ran very poorly. Only problem was Dennis's Moment, he never got it back on the rails. Now, East Avenue, I think that he has a chance to be better than that, but we've seen this before with East Avenue in terms of Dennis's Moment, and it didn't turn out too well for him.
East Avenue pointed towards the $500,000 Risen Star, another young runner who starts the career with plenty of promise. Jonathan's Way was a perfect 2 for 2. Showed up to the Seaside Oval of Del Mar, didn't quite have it in the Breeders' Cup Juvenile, but certainly plenty of promise if we can get back to what we saw through the first couple of races, Caleb.
And here we are for the Kentucky Jockey Club, Dubs. He was the favorite. He's had a little problem of lifting his head up. I talked about this before. Every time this horse comes in the stretch, he slightly lifts his head up. He has some inefficiencies that he can't iron out. He does run a decent second here. First Resort ran big for Godolphin and Owen Hardy. Owen Hardy, the trainer of the winner, had an exceptional 2024, and he runs second here. Now, he was disappointing in the juvenile, but I watched that race back, and, you know, East Avenue was in there, gaming, getaway car, you name it. One thing about the juvenile, it was a really slow pace, Dubs. Almost 48 seconds. Like, you just don't see, especially when Baffert's going 1-2 early, and they're going almost 48 seconds. Larry Colmus mentioned it in the call. They're going very slow. So for a horse like Jonathan's Way, off the pace, slow race, Del Mar is a tough track to ship into. So a lot of these horses that were left behind in the juvenile, they might have had an excuse because that was a completely controlled race early, and Citizen Bull took advantage.
Bodes well, having success beneath the Twin Spires with another big performance we could see right there in the mix for the Kentucky Derby. It's not all about just the first Saturday in May, the first Friday in May. Oaks points were on the line over the weekend. Simply joking, nothing funny about this performance. It was straight business in the Silver Bullet Day Stakes.
I have no idea how every single year the best 3-year-old fillies somehow are at the fairgrounds. And guess what? It looks like it's gonna be the same this year. This horse is 2 for 2, both in stakes races. You don't see a horse debut in a stakes, get bet and win the race, and then here on the stretch out, won so nicely. She was lone speed, Dubs. She took advantage of the wet track. She's by the sire Practical Joke, who we remember as a 7-furlong horse. But Practical Joke was by into mischief, and as time shows, I think that the Practical Jokes will get the distance. Don't forget, Practical Joke sired a Santa Anita Derby winner a couple years ago, Practical Move, who had to scratch out of the Kentucky Derby. But this sire, even though he was a sprinter, I think the progeny are going to want to go long.
Simply joking, picking up Oaks points there over the weekend. And once again, Andy Biancone lucky enough to catch up with the winning trainer, Whit Beckman.
Standing by with Whit Beckman and the winner of the Silver Bullet Day yesterday. Simply joking, 20 points to the Kentucky Oaks. Are you ecstatic?
Yeah, I mean, she's always kind of identified herself as a really nice filly. So, you know, to get a couple Oaks points on the way and, you know, win a stake, we're, yeah, super happy.
I literally remember you telling me that you had a super talented filly way back at Churchill during the fall meet.
Yeah, I think it was right after her last one. They had been workmates pretty much, you know, since they came into me back in October. So knowing how that filly ran, I knew this one was extremely talented, and we might be sitting here having this conversation at this point.
Just something I wanted to ask you. So in your maiden breaking score, she was kind of switching leads before the wire, and she did it again yesterday. What do you think that is attributed from?
Yeah, I've got an idea about that, and I saw her when she came back after winning yesterday. If you saw, she kind of dived into the pony. The TVs, every time she gets in front of the big screen, and she kept doing it in the paddock too, when she saw the TV up, she just gets real spooked by it. I'm not sure if that's exactly it, but it's the same spot each time. And obviously with horses that, you know, are kind of green when they get on the lead, they tend to do a little wandering. So there's a couple things we were going to attribute to, but it might be the TV.
That makes a ton of sense. So moving forward, you think that's just greenness, and that hopefully she'll, with experience, just get over that?
Yeah, we're going to get her a TV, put it in her stall, let her get used to just watching what's going on, seeing herself on it, and hopefully that'll take care of it.
She just needs to get used to seeing herself on TV. I know how you feel, girl. Anyways, Whit, thank you so much and congratulations.
Yeah, thank you. Anytime.
Well done, Whit Beckman and all of the team behind Simply Joking, picking up the Silver Bullet Day Stakes. We've had the Untappable, we had the Silver Bullet Day on Saturday, and now we set forth for the Rachel Alexandra, the 15th of February. 50 points going towards the Oaks and the Fairgrounds Oaks as well there on the 22nd of March. 100 points up for grabs. A run for the Lilies the first Friday in May. Caleb?
And looking forward to our schedule coming up here today. Now, we had an announcement that it is very cold at Parks. So Parks has canceled here, and don't be surprised if they cancel tomorrow and even Wednesday. We're talking like 20-degree weather, and the wind chills are in like the single digits. So don't be banking on Parks running this week. We're going to focus on Europe here for this first hour, but luckily, later on in the program here, Dubs, he brought an hour and a half away from the fairgrounds, and later on today, to celebrate Martin Luther King Jr., you're going to have a racing program from Santa Anita.
Nice racing here for you Monday afternoon. Big fields, big prizes could be awaiting with the international runners today. Kempton Park, race number 7, just a minute out from post time. So if you're looking to jump in and play this one, the second from Wolverhampton, or the Monday opener from Fairgrounds, you'll find all of this great action within that FanDuel Racing app. So taking a look at the field for this one, Caleb, the 8 currently sitting there at 2-1 plus 200. There's a couple of big outliers coming in here for the 7th, but the 8 making a lot of sense for the bettors, as the 4 just having a tough time trying to go into line.
And, Kempton with that patented synthetic course. Maybe one of these days Europe will turn the corner like Japan and actually have dirt racing. But, it was only turf over the years. And then places like Kempton and Dundalk, gave us a synthetic option. But nevertheless, the trip's going to be paramount in a race of this distance.
That was your favourite, Bank on Kent, the 8 going into post position 2 there for trainer David Evans. Was a nice runner-up last out in the money finishes back-to-back. Let's see if we can take a further step forward here today for this 3-year-old still in search of getting that first career victory. And the bettors are looking at Bank on Kent to get it done today. With that, let's send it out there. It's race number 7 from Kempton. Good luck.
Set over 6 furlongs, and they're off and racing. So jumping away. This, the Unibet More Extra Place Races handicap, and away smartly enough was Bank on Kent coming through. Sabrimento staying out wide, and keen between the two of them is Rage of Thunder. Just wants a little bit of extra cover. Gets it now as Rogue Endeavour moves forward on the outside. 5th place for Distant Rumble. Yellow cap showing up there just ahead of Burning Hot. And then comes Dr. Ali in rotation is the back marker, 6 to 7 lengths behind the front running Sabrimento. Sabrimento leads them into the home straight then, followed by Rogue Endeavour in the green jacket in 2nd place. Bank on Kent is against the rail in 3rd, Rage of Thunder still on the premises. Further back is Distant Rumble in company with Dr. Ali, who's now being ridden along. Burning Hot's further back in rotation, not playing any part in the race just yet, needs to pick up in remarkable fashion. The leader is Sabrimento as they dash for home. Sabrimento as Bank of Kent tries to get up ahead of steam on the far side, but it's the stand side finishers, including Distant Rumble, who catch the eye. Distant Rumble and Sabrimento, these two lock horns, and Distant Rumble just forges on. Sabrimento and Rage of Thunder stay on, but it is Distant Rumble who wins it. Distant Rumble home in front there. In 2nd place, possibly Sabrimento holding on. The finisher on the stand side was Rage of Thunder.
The second choice gets it done. The 1, Distant Rumble. The 1 over, looked to be the 2 over the 5 to round out the trifecta. So well done if you had Distant Rumble. Up on top in the 7th from Kempton. We'll wait until those prices go official. For now, we're going to sneak in a quick commercial timeout on the other side. We're getting back out to the fairgrounds as we recap the main event from Saturday evening, the Grade 3 Lecomte. Welcome back into FanDuel TV. Happy Monday. Time to jump into a couple of buys. The speed figures, the top buys from Lecomte on Saturday over at the fairgrounds. No surprises, Caleb. Hit show with the best. 98 buy, pretty impressive.
You know, Hit Show has always felt like a grade 3 or grade 2 horse. He hasn't been in these grade 1s because Brad Cox has been smart about where he puts him. But you'll see that Hit Show gets the 98 buyer, and he had literally the exact same trip as Disco Time, right? Same connections, out there in the middle of the track. And Matt Bernier was on the show, and Matt Bernier actually predicted an 80 buyer for Disco Time. I mean, he was basically spot on, got a 78. So, you know, the older horse Hit Show with the same trip was much faster than the Lecomte.
Let's take a look back to the Louisiana Stakes on Saturday. Hit Show with the score.
With the rail, 3/4 at 1:13, 0.12 seconds, 1 furlong to go. Here's Skinner, Maycox Bay, Morabino Omoide fighting hard. With on the front outside, Hit Show, who was last on the back of the track with Laurent Giroux. It's Hit Show, and Hit Show has come right over the top to win the Louisiana Stakes from Comoro Mino Aboine.
Laurent Giroux, the winning pilot. Brad Cox, surprise, surprise, winning connections behind Hit Show, picking up a 98. A lot to build on going forward, Caleb.
You know, to be a serious Breeders' Cup Classic contender, you'd have to probably crest above 100. But 98 to start the year is definitely good company. And in terms of Hit Show, this is one of my absolute favorite angles in horse racing. A progeny of Candy Ride on a wet track. It's hard to explain, but the Candy Ride is absolutely hydroplane over the top of the wet going. Hit Show is a son of Candy Ride. He's won his last 2 on a wet track. And Dubsy, let's go back a couple years ago to the 2023 Rebel Stakes. Now you're thinking, why the heck are we talking about the Rebel Stakes? Well, Hit Show was by Candy Ride. Check this game out. Confidence Game was the only horse in the race on this sloppy track that was by the sire Candy Ride. But get this, the number 3 behind him, number 3, Red Route 1, was a grandson of Candy Ride. Look at how the 2 Candy Rides late in this race are just loving the slop. Meanwhile, the 5 was the favorite getting slogged down. The 6 was one of the favorites getting slogged down. The 1 was one of the favorites. You had 2 horses that were loving the going. They were both a son and a grandson of Candy Ride. These horses excel over the wet track. Hit Show, son of Candy Ride, and was getting over the wet going.
Disco Time picking up a 78. Hit Show much the best, 98 up on top, almost hitting triple digits. It really would have been impressive given the way the course was playing there on Saturday. Amongst all of the other heavy hitters and superstars that we saw in the sport over at the fairgrounds, Caleb, any other standouts from the weekend?
Buyer-wise, for a young 3-year-old filly, Simply Joking with an 87 in the Silver Bullet Day. This is no joke, an 87 for Simply Joking. And we heard from Whit Beckman. Okay, now Whit, to put this into football terms, would basically be like the talented coordinator that became a head coach, because Whit was a longtime assistant to Todd Pletcher. And once Whit went out on his own and became a head coach, he's been excellent. And the thing about it for Whit Beckman, last year he had his first Derby starter with Honor Marie, but don't forget, last year, his fastest horse in the barn was named Drip, and the horse only got to run like once. So that'd be like being a coordinator, becoming a head coach, having a great season, and your best player was out. So for Whit Beckman, this guy is a super talent. He's now not only getting quality horses, he's getting stakes horses. And the way they've campaigned Simply Joking, I still cannot believe that a first-time starter, Simply Joking, was placed in a stakes race, went off at under 3-1, and is undefeated in 2 stakes tries.
And that should tell us enough. Picking up Oaks points over the weekend that was from the fairgrounds. The first Saturday, the first Friday in May fast approaching. You can watch all that great action in the lead up. The points up for grabs right here on FanDuel TV. What a fast start to a new racing week, a new betting week on the card there as well. We're going to sneak in a quick commercial timeout on the other side. We're taking it out to the Great Race Place. Jam-packed full of weekend racing. We'll recap all the big takeaways. Stick with us. a loaded weekend of action out at Santa Anita, and the party does not stop. Monday racing not too far away, just over 2.5 hours from the Monday opener out at the Great Race Place. You were lucky enough to jump in, enjoy some of the action over the weekend, Caleb, and it looks to be a very competitive card for the Monday one as well.
And we got a WinBet Insurance coming up later on today. I have a race preview at FanDuel Racing. We want to check that out. And how about the stars at Santa Anita? Just in like the last month or so, of course, we just saw Cher in that opening snippet. Jay-Z and Beyonce were there for one of their big stakes programs. So really always been an amazing destination here on the West Coast.
The Queen Bee herself. We now get set for more international racing here early for your Monday afternoon, a little later for the folks over there in the UK. If you're looking to jump in and play the second from Wolverhampton, great news. Free pass performances now for international racing can be found within the FanDuel Racing app. Just head across to that website as well. And taking a look at the second here, Caleb, conditions will be handicap event, all-weather surface, going the distance of 1.5 miles for the 4-year-olds and up. We're getting a good look at the favourite here, the 7. That's East Sticky End, the 7-year-old. Nice win last out, but I'm going against today, Caleb. A little long shot I absolutely love for the Monday program. Walk the Moon, the 10. Runner-up last out. I think we figured it out, getting that class relief, and we get the same again here this afternoon. Showing improvement early in the season, so second up with a bit more fitness to give. It's more about not finding the class relief, but we saw it last out, Caleb. Back at this level, I think Walk the Moon is a totally different 5-year-old, and a lot lines up for this one today, and still sitting there at a bit of a number of 7-1.
Second off the shelf, as you mentioned, I'm a big fan of the stallion, See the Stars. And I know that you are one of the betting admirers of Jack Dowdy, really talented rider here who's going to get the mount on Walk the Moon. So, you know, this is the Belmont distance essentially of 1.5 miles. And what we see here is some elders in this group. We got, you know, a couple 7-year-olds, recently turned 8-year-old, got a 9-year-old. So in the realm of things, you know, your 10-year-old or your 10 recently turned 5-year-old is kind of one of the youngsters of the bunch in this lineup.
Comes in for trainer Tony Carroll in the barn. You can see sitting there at 7-1. Fractionals plus 700 sportbook odds if you're looking to jump in and play. Second choice in the market right now looks to be the 8 sitting at 7-2. Hoa Jumaria, the 4-year-old gelding there, hasn't really shown a lot at the level last out. Caleb gets a little stretch out here today. Comes across from Kempton Park for Mohammed and the team. What do you make of the H chances, who continues to get bet down from 12-1 on the morning line?
Well, they've tinkered recently with the blinkers on the 8, for better or worse, taking them on, taking them off. So I feel like you're at the point in the career where you start to just try things to stew up a good recipe, and blinkers changing would be one of them. I mean, I noticed that if you look at the 1, Max of Stars, the 1 has been in some hurdle races. So kind of hard to compare hurdle races, but the number 1 was favored in a class 4 over the hurdles, but hard to compare the jump races to the flats. The 1 was taking a lot of coin over the hurdles, but the bettor's a little bit more tepid at 8-1 here over the flat surface today.
Getting a good look at this time maybe. The 12 will start from post position 5. In the money finished last out after getting a bit of class relief. That start was on the 6th of Jan, so builds it back pretty quickly here. Another 4-year-old for the field. Comes in for trainer Mark Usher. So the assistants continue to move these runners into line. That was the 1. Will be top rated at the handicap level coming up here today. And that, in terms of Max of Stars chances, Caleb really hasn't shown a bunch. Gets a little cutback from the 2 mile.
And speaking of the 2 mile, you know, we have a lot of horses coming from, as I mentioned, the hurdles. There's actually the top steeplechase horse is one of the Eclipse Awards. And if you don't know how it works, even if you broke your maiden against thoroughbreds, when you switch to the standardbred horses, the jumpers, you got to break your maiden again. So one of the finalists this year, his name is Carloon. You're going to see him in the steeplechase category. He began the year as a maiden over the hurdles and actually ended the year winning a grade 1. So I know that's going to be a prestigious award for the sport, and one of those jumpers will be the Eclipse champion here in T-minus a week.
From the jumps to the flats, we're almost set for a start. It's race number 2 from Wolverhampton. If you're playing along, best of luck.
Out of the stalls there, just lost a little bit of ground as a result in this Bet UK. It's where the UK bets handicap. The one who's dropped in is Margin right at the tail of the field as Max of Stars often likes to trailblaze, has the advantage from Virtual Hug and Holly Doyle into second place. Then comes Walk the Moon, who hugs the rail. Then out wide is Starfighter, who's a 4-time winner around here in the yellow and blue colours. Towards the rail is This Time Maybe, alongside Abstract. Out wider in the spots is Sparkling Bell. Then in behind towards the back, Howard Jamira has passed a couple, has got a sticky end for company, the Dundalk winner. The back of the field is Avarice, and the light green and white checks plenty keen enough. And up against the rail is Margim and Joey Haynes, who's held up off the pace. So down the home straight for the first time, Paul Mulrennan has the lead on Max of Stars, about 3 lengths clear from Walk the Moon, who seeks a first victory up against the rail. Virtual Hug for company. Then in behind that is Starfighter, who's alongside This Time Maybe. Out widest of all, Sparkling Bell alongside Abstract. A sticky end is up against the rail for Jack Cleary. Then Howard Jamira in the yellow and dark blue colours alongside Margim, and the back marker is Avarice and George Buckle. So going out onto their final circuit as they approach the final 6 furlongs, and Max of Stars still takes them along. Virtual Hug still just about in second place with Walk the Moon for company up against the rail. They're tucked in behind is Starfighter. Out wider is Sparkling Bell. This time maybe up against the rail for Nicola Curry. Then in behind is Abstract and Neil Callan. Howard Jamira is in behind that with towards the rail a sticky end. The back of the field still is Avarice and also Margim as they continue down the far side. Just over half a mile left to go. Max of Stars trying to make all the running from Virtual Hug in second place. Right up against the rail, tucked in behind the leader is Walk the Moon. Then in behind that is This Time Maybe alongside Starfighter. And Edward Greatrix out wider, ridden along Sparkling Bell with Abstract for company. A sticky end is sticking to the rail, tucked right in behind runners with Howard Jamira for company. Trying to creep a bit closer now is Margim. The back of the field is Avarice. Beginning to turn in, just over 2 furlongs to go. Max of Stars taken on by Virtual Hug. Right up against the rail, looking for a gap is Walk the Moon. Has got the gap now. Starfighter tries to pick them up in behind. Up against the rail is This Time Maybe as they head down the straight. Howard Jamira trying to pick up on the wide outside. A sticky end is beginning to pick up as well. Walk the Moon leads inside the final furlong. Howard Jamira finishing very strongly on the outside. Then Starfighter just lunging in Howard Jamira, but goes on now and begins to pull away. It's Howard Jamira who powers clear for a fairly comfortable success. This time maybe in Starfighter tight for second. Walk the Moon, a sticky end, and also running on late, Margim.
Hawa Jamara, the 8, gets it done, going off at 7-2. Had 7 starts prior, really hadn't shown a lot of ability coming in for this one, but certainly found it late deep stretch to blitz the other foes. Well, chasing a price, Caleb almost got it, but wasn't meant to be.
And look, the 8, in my mind, had some sketchy form. Must have been facing a little bit better competition, but they had tinkered with the blinkers. They put them on, got a bad result, took them off, and got a better result today.
We'll wait till those prices go official from race number 2 out at Wolverhampton. We bring it back into the studio. What a weekend it was out at the great race place. We had Cow Cup Day there on Saturday. Truly a great celebration for the state breds here in California, Caleb.
And we see the 2014 Breeders' Cup Classic with California Chrome right there in that photo. Bayern ends up winning it there on the inside. Sheer Belief actually right there over your right shoulder. But for California Chrome, his rise to prominence really began in the Cal Cup Derby 10 years ago. And we saw that race here over the weekend. And buckle up, because coming into the stretch, there was a lot of bumping, and Doves, the stewards, had to get involved.
There was a little drama in this one. Let's take a look and have a listen.
Behind them, our Heisman still awaiting racing room. Now Shea Brennan gets going. Whiskey, Gin and Brandy on the outside. They line up in the final 1/8 of a mile. Shea Brennan, Whiskey, Gin and Brandy. Style Cat. Stymied behind them is our Heisman. It's Shea Brennan or Whiskey, Gin and Brandy. Here's the line. Shea Brennan.
Shea Brennan was across the wire first, but not going to be victorious. It was Whiskey, Gin and Brandy, the eventual winner, Caleb. Gutsy performance, took a couple of bumps as they hit the lane and turned for home.
And I think ends up being about 20-1 for the upset. And you hate to see a horse be taken down in a stakes race, but it had to be done. Everybody agreed that that was a considerable bump, especially knowing that the 5 only lost the race by a small margin. The 1 got out and bumped the 5. That was enough for disqualification. And as a matter of fact, the stewards didn't even take long to review the tape. It was a very quick, let's say like a 3 or 4 minute review. And in terms of this horse, this long shot, the horse is by Stay Thirsty, who could run forever. He won the Travers. But he's here now as a stallion on the West Coast, and this horse had just been sprinting for way too long. Sprint after sprint after sprint. Last time, though, this horse went long, had a bad trip, and finished a close 4th. And this race, he gets the spoils there, even if it is via disqualification.
Whiskey, Gin and Brandy, the eventual winner there for the Cow Cup Derby. What about the La Canyana? A little less drama, but certainly didn't lack in performances.
And here's a very lightly raced Cavalieri. Horse has only had 2 starts coming into this point, and now is 3 for 3 with this daughter of Nyquist. And beat a good horse, because the number 1 on the outside looks like the number 1's going by, but the number 1 Alpha Bella's got a little second-itis going. Granted, the 1 has finished second to some really nice horses, but the 1, even with Flavien Prat, could not push by. Hard to beat Baffert when they're on the lead, especially with Juan Hernandez. And this is an expensive horse, a late starter by Nyquist and by Speedway Stables. I mean, this is a group that gave us Collected, who won the Pacific Classic a few years ago. So a late starter, but the horse hasn't lost a race yet. 3 for 3.
Cavalieri there with Juan Hernandez aboard for trainer Bob Baffert. So certainly wasn't lacking from coast to coast. The action continued. The Las Ciennegas out at the Great Race Place. And what a race this turned out to be.
Okay, so you beat Flavien Prat in the La Cañada, but you ain't gonna beat him in the Las Ciennegas, as Tupi is really turning into a nice turf sprinter for Graham Motion. I think, Dubs, they got a little help in this race because the number 7 Hamwood Flyer was a big speedball that scratched, and once the 7 came out, the 6 sat there on a lonely lead and pretty much toying with him. There was a big old band across the way for 2nd, 3rd, and 4th, but Tupi formerly had gone a little bit too long, but once they tailored this horse to the sprints, has turned into a real dynamo.
Tupi get it done out there at Santa Anita. What a weekend it truly was in the sport of racing. Some of the big takeaways and big performances here for your Monday afternoon. And if you're thinking, well, I'd love to enjoy a bit more Santa Anita racing, well, their opener, the Monday opener, not too far away, just over 2 hours from right now until we make a kickoff with the team out there live on site. We're going to sneak in a quick commercial timeout. On the other side, we're taking a look at some of the star 3-year-olds in the sport. We had some great action over the weekend from the Big A. Stick with us. Welcome back into FanDuel TV. Happy Monday. Little MVP Mondays. The weekend that was certainly didn't lack Drama, action, fantastic racing from Santa Anita, the fairgrounds. And what about at Aqueduct? The Busanda Stakes, star showing.
Yeah, and in this race, we've seen back-to-back starts that look pretty similar for Running Away, who is aptly named because this horse, 2 starts on the dirt, both times went to the lead, and both times basically ran away from competition. And Dubs, I'm a big fan of this jockey, Sahin Savachi. This was basically the top rider at Woodbine up there in Canada, but he's brought his tack to Aqueduct, and to no surprise, he's hitting at a nice clip. This is going to be a filly by Gunrunner, and just owning the lead here in the last 2 wins.
Running Away did exactly that in the Busanda Stakes. Avicii, a pilot to watch out for moving forward. The Renaissance over the weekend certainly turned out to be a big one. Kale's Angel had plenty of buzz coming up.
Now, Kale's Angel was 1-5 in this race, Dubs, and had to work a little bit. It always felt like the number 4 was going to win this horse race, but it wasn't by a big margin. They had to doggedly get past the 1, then they're going to catch actually an outside rally as well. But Dubs, we talked about when Kale's Angel was in the Smarty Jones, I think they wanted to have that race over again. They didn't go to the lead when they should have, but this ultimately is going to be a better sprinter. And right there, again, 1-5, has to hold off the 1 and the 5, but does just that.
Looked very impressive. Didn't look like a 1-5 shot, but eventually got that score. So the action continued from coast to coast. We also got out to Turfway Park. Baby Max taking out the Leonardus.
Trainer Kelsey Danner's had some really good horses at Turfway Park last couple years. Last year, she had a horse named Nicest Pie, who basically was the queen of the synthetic. And now she's got Baby Max, who stretched out to a mile last time, was a close second, and this time actually runs away from the field, does it very impressively. So Abel Cedillo has been aboard for the last 2, a near second, and this stakes win.
Well done to Abel and all of the winning connections who got to enjoy the winner's circle on a chilly evening out there at Turfway Park. And Caleb, you know, we're moving through January. Cannot believe it's already 2025. We're looking towards the Derby, the first Friday, first Saturday in May there with the Oaks Points, but it feels like the season's really starting to heat up.
Yeah, once you get to the 20-point races, you get to a real serious chunk of the schedule. And like I mentioned, this weekend we have the Southwest coming up. Last year, Mystic Dan won the Southwest, and we know what he did in the Kentucky Derby.
Let us know your biggest takeaways from the weekend that was in the sport of thoroughbred racing. With that, we get back to the live action here for your Monday afternoon. It's race number 8 coming up from Kempton Park. Just 3 minutes out from post time. You can see they're already behind the starting gate, going through the final motions, and that betting board telling us it is all about the 6 here, Caleb, currently sitting at 4-5. So I've got to pay a little bit of juice for this one, but certainly makes a bit of sense here for the bettors.
Cosmic Force by Maymas. And Billy the Kid, as you told us last week, he had multiple wins when we were on going back to just a week ago. So, you know, starts to really pick up a lot of business. And, you know, before you know it, you got a handful of favorites there on the program. Now, in terms of the second choice, it's a real race for who will be the clear second choice between the 3, 4, and 5. The 3 makes the first start of the year. Same for the 4 and 5. So, you know, the second choices, they're essentially kind of hitting the reset button here and beginning a new racing season.
Bit of quality signed up for this one. Race number 8. They will be on the distance of 6 furlongs. You can jump in and play within the FanDuel Racing app. There is Billy the Kid, young star pilot. Billy Loughnane aboard the 6, your current favourite in Cosmic Force. Just making start number 6 here this afternoon. Gets a bit of relief, but really hasn't shown up to play early part of the career. So let's see if we can figure it out in the 3-year-old season. Second choice right now on the board looks to be the 3 sitting at 5-1 marvellously. The 3-year-old filly for trainer Amy Murphy. A little equipment change here this afternoon. The blinkers coming on. Also has some nice racing experience, but really just hasn't had the fitness at the back end of 2024. So returns a little bit bigger, and let's see if we can be a little bit faster.
It's amazing. By the way, the 3 is owned by Eclipse. They had built over the weekend, ran that nice second in the Lecomte. It's amazing what the class levels does for your odds. If you look at the favorite, a couple starts ago, the 6 was 80-1. Now the horse is 4-5. Look at a horse like the 3. A few starts ago, the 3 was 100-1. Now they're 7-2. So it makes all the difference in the world as opposed to getting your horse at the right level where they can be the correct odds and have a chance to win.
Big odds, big fields. Let's see if we can chase home a nice looking price here as they get set for race number 8 from Kempton. We'll send it out there. Good luck.
Thank you, Tom. Commendation then to come in. Stall number 6. So Commendation steps forward. And that's that. We're ready to go over 6 furlongs once again and they're off and racing. Commendation just missed the break ever so slightly. Most of the others jumped well, although Cosmic Force is being pushed along in behind the leaders and drops back to last place. Slightly alarming, that lack of pace early on. Let's see what the pace is like from Cosmic Force coming home. He's in last place as they turn. Apple's Angel coming to the fore, leading up from Jane Garfield in second place, Marvelously in third, followed by Foro Romano in fourth place. Commendation racing alongside Miyakoda, they're the next pairing, and they're followed by Piranha Rama, and the back marker is still Cosmic Force. Tightly grouped up now, though, as they turn in, well inside the final 3 furlongs. Apple's Angel marvellously going for a run up the far rail. Pushed along now is Jane Garfield in third place, as Foro Romano tries to improve with Commendation over on that far side running rail, but Apple's Angel still out in front. There is some late work coming from Cosmic Force, but he needs to really fly from there. Up front, Apple's Angel chased by Commendation. After these, Foro Romano and Cosmic Force finishing off the race pretty strongly down the stand side. Apple's Angel still out in front, though, and clinging on. Apple's Angel from Foro Romano. Closest at the finish was Cosmic Force up on the wide outside. Marvelously and Commendation, the next pair.
And just like that, the biggest price on the board, Apple's Angel, with a right performance going off at 27-1.
Don't see that too often. You know, the 6 got way too far back. The 6 actually, the trailer makes a nice rally, but the 8 skirts clear. Going to pay over $50.
Long Shot delivers in race number 8. We'll wait until those prices go official. It's now time for a quick commercial timeout, but don't go anywhere. On the other side, MVP Monday. Stay tuned to find out who takes the top 3 performances from the weekend. Back in the FanDuel TV, time for a little MVP Monday from the weekend that was. Let's start with that 3rd spot. The bronze medal goes to Hit Show, from last to first in the Louisiana Stakes.
I mean, he's won half of his starts. He's 8 for 16. He was a contestant in the Kentucky Derby, actually was 5th in the Derby. And, you know, since the Triple Crown Trail, Brad Cox has been very smart about where he's put this horse. He's only been in grade 2s and grade 3s. I think that at some point this year, Dubs, he could get to a grade 1. Being a gray son of Candy Ride, I do think that he excelled over the slop, but still, he started on the rail, took the widest path home, and still got to the winner's circle.
Surging up the center of the track as they made their way towards home. It was Hit Show getting the score in the Louisiana Stakes. Florent Giroux aboard for conditioner Brad Cox. Let's take it to that 2 spot. Simply Joking. No funny business in this one. It was all about Simply Joking in the Silver Bullet Day.
And just went right to the lead and made him pay. Had the lead, had the rail. This was a good field. I mean, look at the 1 in behind in the Juddmonte Stokes. The 1 is the younger sister to Idiomatic. The horse in the red cap, Golden Gamble, that horse can really run for McPeak. The 4 goes out for Whit Beckman. That was the stablemate. The 8 can run a little bit too if you look at the 8. So this is a quality bunch that Simply Joking is absolutely skiing away from. So much talent and still can actually get better. Swaps leads a bit incorrectly late, veers out. So the 3's kind of making these very small mistakes, and even in doing that, has won 2 nice races to begin the career.
And now becomes a big contender towards the Oaks, the first Friday in May. Well done to Whit Beckman. Jaime Torres aboard for the ride. That number 1 spot for MVP Mondays. A little disco time with the winning move, Caleb.
And, you know, the sire, not this time. If you go to the Breeders' Cup, he had the fastest horse going in the Breeders' Cup, Cogburn, and not this time also had the best marathoner in Next. So ultra versatile stallion, and this horse showed the versatility here because they came wide. The game plan was to sit close and stalk, but that's not how the race developed, but still comes out in the middle part of the track. The number 1 Innovator runs huge on the lead. The number 6 Golden Afternoon, a big effort as a long shot. Don't forget about the 13 Built, who was the morning line favorite. They split for second, but too much outside momentum for Disco Time and stays undefeated 3 for 3.
Picks up 20 points towards the Kentucky Derby for that monster effort there. Sparkled on a rain-soaked Saturday from the fairgrounds. Agree, disagree. Hit Show takes out that 3rd spot, Simply Joking with the 2 spot in the Silver Bullet Day, and Disco Time up on top in the Grade 3 Lecomte. Let us know, sound off, hit the socials. We're hitting a quick timeout on the other side. A little WinBet insurance this afternoon from the Great Race Place.
We all do it. We've all been doing it since horse racing began.
Come on, kid, let's go Yankees!
Some of us are serious, some not so much. But we all do it. From the excited, to the chilled, to the armchair jockeys, or to the shocked. We all love to cheer home a winner. Make every moment more. FanDuel Racing. Cheer home your next winner.
We all do it. We all did it. We're all getting set for a great Monday afternoon, and there's a particular race that you're locked in on here, Caleb. WinBet Insurance offered up for race number 8 from Santa Anita. Monday racing doesn't get much better than this.
one of our favorite promotions here. So if you opt in, you can wager $10, and if your horse finishes second or third, we'll refund the bet. And it's going to be a turf race dubs later on today for the maiden special weights.
Let's take a look. They're going the distance of a mile out on the turf course, and it's all about Pura Vida Princesa, the 8 sitting at 2-1. But CK, we can see your top endorsement. You're going for a bit of a price outside of the top choice here.
I like the number 10, Firenze Flavor. This horse was 5th out of 10 on debut, but they had a little trouble to start. I love the pedigree to excel at 2 turns, and I always like this. When a horse runs their first race and then starts to pick it up on the work tab, after that debut 5th, then they went 47 flat, 59 and 2, and I adore the fact that Umberto Rispoli gets up here. So I think that this is going to be a nice key matchup with coming from off the pace. And also, I think the key factor in this race, the morning line favorite, the number 8, Pura Vida Princesa. Okay, the number 8's the fastest horse in the race and just missed by a nose last time out, so did everything but win. The only concern about the 8 is the distance. The big favorite has run 3 sprints. Today we find out if the favorite can go 2 turns.
Caleb's top endorsement will be the 10 sitting there at 5-1. You can find that one within the FanDuel Racing app. You'll also see that WinBet Insurance. Make sure you opt in, so if you win, you win. Second or third could have money coming back in your direction. That's race number 8 coming up today from Santa Anita. We're back here on FanDuel TV as we get set for race number 3 from Wolverhampton. Just a minute out from post time. Nice looking field at this one. The top choice right now looks to be the 4 sitting at 2-1. They're going 6 furlongs, handicap event. Let's start with the favourite, Caleb. That is Tyke, the 5-year-old gelding, bested by Neck last out, but looks to be really well suited to this level.
Amazing pedigree on the number 4, being by Bobby's Kitten. You know, Bobby's Kitten was arguably one of the best sons of Kitten's Joy. He used to get a little bit too rank in his races, but once they got him to relax, he won the Breeders' Cup Turf Sprint. And also the 4 is out of a Canford Cliffs mare. Now, Canford Cliffs, on his best day, defeated Goldacova, who I think we could well argue was the best miler in the history of the Breeders' Cup. So I really like the pedigree of the 4. The one thing that this race is missing, Dubs, is any recent wins. If you look at the entire field in the last 2 starts, does not support a win there on the page. So this is kind of for a group that's been getting nibbles. The 4 was second last time, the 3 was third, but they don't have a recent score.
Go, you buried the 3, getting very close to making that way back into the winner's circle. Now sitting at 7-2 on the board as the second choice. It's a fast load, so let's get out there. It's race number 3 from Wolverhampton.
This is That's For Sure. Clifford Lee, Carl Burke, stall 8. couple to load. Bows on, blindfold on, stall 1. Last couple in. All in. And they're often racing. Mumiaz slowly away, as was Not Just Yet in his £30 in free bets with Bet UK handicap. Now, Gogo Yubari got a really good start and is the leader in the gold cap with up there MJK. Now, Professor Tickle from a wide draw, the green jacket, trying to get much closer. With him behind is Bows On. The light blue of That's For Sure comes next. Tyke is in behind in the white colours with the star. The red sleeves of Hallowed Time on the inside. Mumiaz, and the back marker is Not Just Yet. Going around the bend, Go Yubari, and Morgan Cole takes them along from Professor Tickle in second place. Then Bows On up against the rail. The black colours of MJK is moving into third position. Then just in behind is Hallowed Time, who tries to get a bit closer. Ridden along, That's For Sure. Work to do for Tyke. Then towards the back of the field as they swing in is Mumiaz and also Not Just Yet. Gogo Yubari dictating from the front, heading into the straight with just over a furlong and a half to go. It's Gogo Yubari. MJK trying to cover that move under Grace McEntee. Professor Tickle a bit tired in behind, being switched out is Hallowed Time. Mumiaz finishing strongly on the outside, then Tyke as MJK takes over now from Hallowed Time. Here comes Mumiaz on the outside under Jack Doughty from the back of the field. Mumiaz from Hallowed Time. It's Mumiaz just on top, close towards the finish. Mumiaz has got up to beat in second place at Hallowed Time. Third was MJK, and they're chased in by Not Just Yet.
Mamaya's the one over the 6, over the 5, going off there at 9-2 for trainer Tony Carroll. So well done if you had the 1 up on top for race number 3 from Wolverhampton. We'll wait till those prices go official. We're going to get set for another quick commercial timeout. If you're getting set, more great action. The NFL, the postseason, the playoffs really started to heat up from what we saw there yesterday. You can jump into play today for your new customers.
Saturday, the Pegasus World Cup is here, featuring the Grade 1 $3 million Pegasus World Cup, the Grade 1 $1 million Pegasus World Cup Turf, and the Grade 2 Pegasus Philly and Mare Turf. And FanDuel TV will be on track live from Gulfstream, bringing you every moment with expert analysis. Brought to you by Coolmore America. Join us Saturday for the Pegasus World Cup. First post, 11 Eastern, 8 Pacific.
All of the stars in the sport headed to South Florida. Gulfstream Park playing host to the World Cup, the Pegasus World Cup of 2025. 10 stakes races worth more than $5.6 million. The headlining event, the $3 million Pegasus World Cup, and it looks to be all about Locked as the short price on the board.
And this race formerly was known as the Dawn Handicap, which was a heck of a race over the years, but then they refashioned it into the Pegasus, and then we've seen horses like Gunrunner, Arrowgate, California Chrome. So this has been a really fun early classic race in January.
12 horses going into the starting gate, so let's take a look at the morning line here. They drew over the weekend for the Grade 1 Pegasus World Cup Invitational. As we highlighted, Locked looks to be the one to beat. The 11 horse sitting at 5-2. Johnny V in the irons, and it will go off as race 13 for Saturday afternoon's program. Let's take it back to the Cigar Mile, and this is a big win for Locked.
And his race before this, he had an exceptional time. How about stopping the clock for 7 furlongs at Aqueduct, which doesn't even produce fast times? The race before this, Locked went 1:21 flat, a sizzling time. And then what does he do for an encore? Well, he goes right to the Cigar Mile and zips right on past the number 5 Mulligan, who was the favorite in the Breeders' Cup Sprint. He ran third in that race. Now, the challenge for Locked, we mentioned his sire Gunrunner won the Pegasus. He actually has not gone 2 turns, Dubs, in over a year. Got to go back to the juvenile, that loaded juvenile with the likes of Muth and Fierceness for the last time that Locked went the 2-turn distance.
Saffy Joseph has a couple of big threats pointed towards the Invitational. The 10 Skippy Lonstocking, and of course the 4 in white Abario sitting there at 3-1 with one of the best pilots in the world right now, Irad Ortiz, along for the ride. So let's turn it back to the Mr. Prospector Stakes, and White Abario absolutely getting hot.
Well, he comes up late. I mean, Dubs, anytime you get beat at 2-5, it's got to be a disappointment. But this was still an encouraging effort, even if you were defeated. The horse on the front end, I have no idea how the number 6 Mufasa paid $10. Mufasa had the fastest 7 furlong time of the year in 2024, 1:19 and change at Colonial. And, you know, the 6 had a horrible trip in the Breeders' Cup. So White Abario, he was way too far back early. We know he loves Gulfstream Park, and even in defeat as a short price, that was a nice effort to come in on.
And will benefit a lot from that race. Brings in plenty of fitness back in for this one.
White Abario, to start his career, if you look at his first 9 races, he was 4 for 4 at Gulfstream Park and 0 for 5 everywhere else. So he absolutely loves the surface. One thing that comes to my mind when I see this race, Dubs, when it just got pulled, not a lot of speed. So I'm really focusing in on the number 2, Saudi Crown. Saudi Crown's one of those go for broke types on the lead. Giroux and Cox had a big weekend there at the fairgrounds, and this is when he made the lead. Now, he is a grandson of Bodemeister. When the Bodemeisters get the lead taken away from him, they kind of give up, let's be honest. But when they have the lead, they can really run huge. The race before, in the Breeders' Cup, Saudi Crown didn't get the lead, and he gave up. But this race, he got the lead and he powered away. So this is a great horse that only has his mind on one thing, and that is achieving the lead early this horse race. And he'll have every chance to do this in the Pegasus, especially from that inside 2 post.
Could it be Saudi Crown getting set to surge $3 million up for grabs? We've made a case for a couple of the big headliners, but none more so than last year's Kentucky Derby champion, Mystic Dan, getting in the mix.
I'm so intrigued to see how the public bets this horse, because once you're the Derby winner, you're essentially the most famous horse in the broader public. But last time out, he ran dead last, 6 out of 6 in the Malibu. Now, I think he will improve. The one thing about Mystic Dan is you gotta pray for rain. And looking at the forecast, I don't see any rain this weekend. This horse excels over a wet track. This was an amazing trip. We've taken you through this, but keep in mind, it poured the day before the Derby. This was listed as a, quote, fast track, but essentially his last 2 wins have been when it was raining in the area around those days. And at 8-1, Dubs, I think he actually might go off higher than that 8-1, even for a Kentucky Derby winner.
Kenny McPeak, Brian Hernandez trying to pick up where they left off at the back end of 2024. I'll tell you what, it is going to be an exciting weekend ahead out there from South Florida. Let's take a look at our starting cast. Christina Blacker, Gabby Goddard, Matt Bernier, Anthony Pascal, Caden Brader, and the voice himself, Larry Colmus. It is Pegasus week, and we're going to get you up to speed with everything you need to know ahead of Saturday afternoon.
And Dubsy, how about this 10 a.m. hour coming up, 1 o'clock Eastern time, and we got racing from the fairgrounds ready to go. That's going to be later on here in about just over a half hour. And even though we've had a light start with the cancellation at Parks, things are going to heat up later on this afternoon. Of course, we have the fairgrounds and Santa Anita for this holiday Monday.
We've already had a monster long shot coming through. Let's see if we can keep up that momentum. If you're looking to jump in and play and you're a new customer, Why not today? No sweat first bet up to $500 could be coming back in your direction. Just scan that QR code, head across to the FanDuel Racing app where you can play today. You mentioned, Caleb, the opener from Fairgrounds not too far away, but the international racing continues from Kempton. We're getting set for the 9th race of the evening, just 5 minutes out from post time. King David, the 8, the top choice in the market right now, sitting at 8-5 for Marco Botti in the barn.
And the Irish breds, as you see, there's 4 of them. And if you look at the map, you know, Ireland not necessarily that big of a place in comparison to some other countries, but man, do they give us some top-class racehorses. I think Ireland really sticks out as one of the absolute best breeding grounds for turfers.
Some great trainers and barns coming out of Ireland as well. They're going to make their way out onto the track. Conditions for this one, 7 furlongs out on the all-weather surface. Another handicap event coming up here. So top of the board, top rated, will carry top weights as well. And here is the favourite, the 8. Taking a look at the chances for King David, the 4-year-old. Consistency looks to be rewarded. Back in a competitive spot, comes across from Lingfield, where we saw this 4-year-old racing at the back end of 2024, and just always seems to be contending, Caleb.
Now, the 8, the last 2 times have been almost identical. Both times the 8 was slightly over even money as the favorite, and both times the 8 finished a very close second, one by a nose, one by 3/4 of a length. So the 8's been kind of right there without having the lead. And also the 8 keeps on going to different tracks and different distances. You know, this is going to be the 4th straight different track, and also a new distance for the 8, just slightly different. Last time the 8 went 1 mile. Today they go 7 furlongs. And then you look at a horse like the 6, well, a King of Ithaca is a horse that, you know, has been a little bit stop and start. They have some layoffs in between the races, but last time out, the 6 had a pretty good second there. Didn't have a lot of pace help, but still was the runner-up.
Sitting there at 3-1. Also got the 4 starting to firm up. Seen a bit of play from the bettors. That is Bellshot for Michael Appleby and the team. Showed a bit of promise last out. Gets back to a very similar level here today. Just had the 2 wins last year from 18 starts, so no shortage of experience for this 6-year-old.
And the 6 was the favorite last time. The 6 is always taking play. I mean, you don't see any race recently where the 4 was over 5-1 or 6-1, and you get Billy Loughnane there in the irons. And right now the 4 is the 3rd choice, 3rd start off of the shelf, and was 4th last time. Talking about the number 4, but only got beat a length.
A couple of class droppers. We'll start with the 2. G'day. Shout out to fellow Aussies. Could be a bit of a principal play there. But in terms of the chances for G'day, was 8-1 morning line. Now sits there at 10-1. So not seeing a lot of attention, but this will be the softest spot that we've seen for the 7-year-old in the last 5 starts for trainer Joe Parr. So gets a bit of class relief. That is the 2, now sitting at 9-1.
Yeah, a couple of things I like about the 2 is, okay, number 1, you mentioned that they are dropping to a lower class level, and also the 2 kind of runs to the odds. The lowest odds for the 2 in the last 6 races was 4-1, and they got the win. Now, we're not quite 4-1 today, more like 9-1, but, you know, the 2 kind of gives you an effort reflective of the odds, and right now the 2 trending as the 4th choice.
King David, shortest price on the board, the first to go into the starting gate. We've got the 9 sitting at 16-1. Monster Long Shot, that is soar above. Really hasn't seen a lot of attention from the bettors ahead of race number 9 here, and hasn't raced since midway through September of 2024. So it looks to fire with a big one off the bench, but for the 10-year-old, trained by John Butler, may need a start or 2. There are the official prices from race number 3 over at Wolverhampton. It was the 1 over the 6 over the 5. So a nice little double-digit shot coming through there in the 3rd. Let's see if we can get one home here for the 9th, Caleb, from Kempton. The 8 remains firm at 8-5.
And looking at that result, we had those matching place prices. How about over the weekend, Dubs? We saw a triple dead heat, one of the true rarities. Maybe see it a couple times a year, but over the weekend we had a triple dead heat, and we'll see if we have a close finish here for this 9th.
We're almost set for a start. Class 5 handicap event going the distance of 7 furlongs. The 2 goes in the line. We just await the 7, I believe. That is Groovy Baby for trainer Andrew Balding. Blinkers coming on. Has been very, very close. 4 straight runner-ups. Let's see if we can get it done today.
And they're off and racing. Jumping away then, the 7 furlong trip ahead of them for the Tri-Unibet's new Smart View Race Cards handicap. Nudged up early is Dion Baker under Trevor Whelan. 2 disputed early with Artisan. Good Day is in touch with them as well. And Bell Shot just in behind them, sitting in a share of third place towards the outside is Bell Shot. Further back then, races Groovy Baby. Groovy Baby is followed by Soar Above, and also with Soar Above is Port Road. Well back is King David. King David sits right at the back end of the field at the moment, 6 to 7 lengths off the pacemakers. Soar Above has just come under pressure. King of Ithaca is the back marker, the leader. Well strung out field, the leader Dion Baker and Trevor Whelan from Artisan in second place. Third and fourth for Good Day in company with Bell Shot, and they're followed through by Groovy Baby. After Groovy Baby comes Port Road, and then King David will need to wind up pretty soon. Soar Above on his outside, and King of Ithaca going for an inner run. The leader is Artisan joining Dion Baker. Also with them is Bell Shot. Far side, that's Good Day trying to come home. King of Ithaca's threading through runners now with a big finish. Short of room was Port Road. He's looking for racing room. Up front they go now. King of Ithaca's being produced over on the far side. The grey head, though, was down as well. In the middle, that was Artisan. And Bell Shot not far away at all with Groovy Baby right on their heels. Tightest finish of the day.
Heard it from the call. I think it may have been Artisan, the 3, getting the score up the centre. It was a close one there. So hold all tickets for race number 9 from Kempton. In what a stretch run that was, Caleb.
Yeah, quite exciting, and you never know. This is like the truest form of reality TV when you're talking about horses and riders competing. And how about this one? As they came into the stretch, we noticed something here for this 9th and final at Kempton. How about a furry friend took a dangerous trip across the racetrack with a full group of thoroughbreds coming right at him. Let's see here. This was not too far in front of the field. What?
What is going on? Is that a raccoon? Just darting under the rail in time.
And by the way, who had this late double? We just saw the longest shot in the field at Kempton win race 8, and you followed up with a 13-1 shot. So an insane late double based on the odds. And luckily that friend escaped danger there with a bunch of fast thoroughbreds coming right at him. But this was a huge finish because Bradley kind of lazed it down here and had an outside chance, had an inside chance, and still the gray just maintains.
Questionable timing there to dart across the course, but no questions about this finish. It's going to come down to the bob, to the nose. I believe it may have been Artisan, the 3. Another big prize could be rolling through there from the 9th. We're going to roll in to a quick commercial timeout. On the other side, we look ahead to Pegasus Week from South Florida. Stick with us. Gulfstream Park will be the centre of the horse racing world coming up this weekend for the Pegasus World Cup. And the Pegasus World Cup turf, what a loaded cast on paper. 5 millionaires going into the starting gate.
Ultra competitive, Dubs, because if you look at the field here, basically the whole field is in 90 buyer land, and maybe the favorites have dipped into low 100s. But look at the whole field. Speed figure wise, you could throw a blanket over this entire group of what could be 12 horses at post time.
We will get a couple of international raiders making their way across the pond here. So let's bring up the field for the Pegasus World Cup Turf Invitational and taking a look at Nation's Pride, the 7 sitting at 2-1. It gets star international pilot William Buick in the irons for trainer Charlie Appleby.
And wow, did they pack some type of kick. And, you know, Nation's Pride, this horse is so well regarded. Nation's Pride was the favorite in the Breeders' Cup Turf a couple years ago. And, Dubsy, they got the win in the Arlington Million, which is now held at Colonial.
Out there on the turf course, not so much about having that early speed. It likely won't be one of the front markers, but a devastating turn of foot. We saw it late over here at Colonial Downs.
And actually, after this race, went to Bahrain, an international trip. This horse has been all over the world for sure. It's been in Germany, Canada, of course, America, UAE, Europe. I mean, where has Nation's Pride not run? And William Buick for the Blue Jackets of Godolphin, you know they pack that big late punch.
Has had a Grade 1 win in each of the last 3 seasons. Let's take a look. Another big contender here, Integration, the 5, sitting at 3-1 on the morning line.
They've always bet this horse hard, Integration. And by the way, Integration was second in that race we just showed you, talking about the Arlington Million. But LaFranc, Frankie Dettori gets aboard this horse coming up this weekend. He's won half the starts, 5 for 10. The only tiny concern I have with Integration, his 2 wins have been at even money and 1-20. Like, he hasn't been able to win a race at anything above being the huge favorite. But talent's not really the question. It's can he get the trip and can he class up at higher odds this weekend?
Found a nice looking trip for that one. Major Dude could be a major problem for a lot of familiar foes squaring off. The World Cup Turf Invitational, Major Dude will be the 6, starting at 6-1.
You know, Irad Ortiz Jr. basically is like the auto favorite in every race at Gulfstream. So you don't have to worry about being the favorite this weekend, because even off a win in the Fort Lauderdale, this horse is going to be probably right in that 6-1. And he just bowled his way through. He said, get out of my way. I'm ready to win this race. Even with some traffic, Irad still piled this one to a very close and narrow victory.
Look at that. Found a bit of racing room late and just found that kick towards the line. So the Pegasus World Cup Turf Invitational amongst a loaded program on Saturday afternoon. This one will go off at race 12. And we've got our starting 6 live on site to keep you up to speed and come up with all of those winning wagers. See Breezy lead them out there from Gulfstream Park. The $3 million Pegasus World Cup Invitational, the marquee event coming up this Saturday, Caleb.
Wow, really can't wait for it. That's going to be an amazing pick 5 sequence.
If you're looking to jump in and play, it is a great week in the sport of racing. It's time for a quick timeout. On the other side, Caleb Keller, the pressure is on. Best bets for the Monday afternoon coming up. Just about 90 minutes out from the Monday opener out at the great race place of Santa Anita. It will mark the 5th consecutive day of racing at Santa Anita.
Love to see it. You know, they had to cancel with everything that had happened in Los Angeles, the Cal Cup day, but that went off with a big success on Saturday. And I've always been a big fan of this Monday, and of course celebrating the great Martin Luther King Jr. here, and a great program here to accompany the holiday.
We've also got a nice blend of international racing here for your Monday afternoon. We're getting set for the 4th from Wolverhampton. They'll be going the distance of a mile 3/16 out there on the all-weather surface for the maidens. The top choice looks to be the 7 here, sitting at 1 to 5, so the early money continues to pour in here for Chartwell Jock. The 3-year-old colt, trained by Andrew Balding, just has the first 2 starts into the racing career, Caleb, but took a big step forward last out over at Lingfield on the 3rd of Jan.
And if you look at the speed ratings, to absolutely no surprise, the 7 and 8 are the ones taking the place. So the 7 has a 72 speed rating and the 8 has a 73. Other than that, the next highest in the race is 55. So, you know, some of them haven't raced. You got some first-time starters in here. The 3s run incredibly, but the 3 only has a 41. So based on just speed figures alone, it's an absolute 2-horse race with the 7 and 8.
If you're looking to jump in and play, you'll find free pass performances for all of the international racing within the FanDuel Racing app. So the 7, Chartwell Jock, looks to be a very, very firm favourite on the board. Second choice, Crack-a-Lack, and the 8 sitting at 3 to 1 also makes start number 3 here this afternoon. If we were to play devil's advocate, Caleb, and go against the top 2 choices, it's a nice betting race and big prices right now because we just don't have a lot of data for a couple of these other contenders.
Yeah, you know, a first-time starter like the number 5, Flute Dior. I mean, the 5 is by Golden Horn, and he was a favorite in the Breeders' Cup Turf. I think he ran 2nd that year at Keeneland, but I remember, you know, they asked Bob Baffert that year, like, who's the one horse outside of your barn that you want to see? And he said Golden Horn, who was a turfer. So I definitely like the pedigree on the number 4 here, but it is, or the 5, I should say. Number 5 at 15 to 1 by Golden Horn. But ultimately, you know, the outside contenders here, Holly Doyle on the 8, the 7 absolutely getting blitzed at the windows. But I just feel like this is one of those ones that you take it to the elementary school math class and just ask them to point out the figures, and the class is going to strongly point to the outside too.
We saw Holly Doyle up on top of the 8, Crack-a-Lackin' in the orange silks. Here's the 6, Big Price, Universal Story. That's your rider Kingscote, aboard for Jimmy Horton and the team. Has had 2 starts, has shown a bit of promise going through December. First start here for 2025. Let's see if Universal Story, the 6, can take a bit more improvement. It could be right in the mix as they hit this one late, Caleb. It looks to be Price's Artesian. It was the 3 up on top from Kempton for race number 9. Another long shot roll and throw.
Yeah, and the 4, I think, took the lead with about 20 yards to go, and then the 3, the Gray from in between, just battled back on to get the win. So we had back-to-back upsets there, races 8 and 9 to end the card from Kempton.
Let's see if we can get another price home here in the 4th from Wolverhampton. The favourite, the 7, Chartwell Jock, has shown improvement, but also shows a bit of vulnerability at this spot at that kind of number of 2 to 5. If you're looking to jump in and play, you'll find this one and the next over at the FanDuel Racing app. Really is a loaded Monday afternoon on the wagering side. Some great racing to be had as well. A couple of big prices outside of the top 2 betting choices here for the 4th from Wolverhampton. If you're looking to jump in and play, you're going to have to move fast as we send it out on course for race number 4. Good luck.
Balding and Callum Hutchinson teaming up. Crack-a-Lack going in for Holly Doyle. One more to load, and that is Star of Jupiter, Johnny Pete. Last one in. Set to go. And they're off. Slow beginning by Little Mucker in this extra winnings with Bet UK Acca Club Maiden Stakes over 1 mile and 1.5 furlongs. About 3 or 4 vying for the lead early on. Out wider, the noseband Chartwell Jock, though, is moving to the front without compromise. Is up against the rail. Then in 3rd place, Crack-a-Lacken in the orange jacket. They're followed by Universal Story in those yellow sleeves and cap. Fazen comes next in the mauve and green as they go around the bend with Star of Jupiter. Flute Door on debut today is only one from the back, and Little Mucker, Nicola Curry, after that slow beginning, just latching on at the back of the field as they swing around the bend and head towards the back straight with around 6 furlongs left to go. Chartwell Jock leading then from Crackalacken and Holly Doyle now into second place. Then Without Compromise in third in the maroon and gold colours, followed through by Universal Story. Out wider is Fazen, then behind Fazen, Flute Door, the black cap with the white spots, who's alongside Star of Jupiter and Johnny Pete. And at the back of the field is Little Mucker. So continue down the back straight, just over half a mile left to go. Chartwell Jock in front for Callum Hutchinson with Crackalacken right up sides now. So the first two in the market pressing on from in third position Without Compromise, who's just a length and a half behind them. Then comes Universal Story without wider Fazen, then pushed along up against the rail Star of Jupiter alongside Flute Door and Little Mucker still at the back of the field. Chartwell Jock still in front as they begin the swing in, 2.5 furlongs to go. Ridden along Crackalacken to try and stay with this leader. Trying to pick up Without Compromise in behind. Then comes Universal Story. The others are a long way adrift as they swing into the straight with 1.5 furlongs to go. Chartwell Jock still in front by a couple of lengths, being chased by Without Compromise. Crackalacken looks held now on the outside. Trying to pick up is Universal Story. 1/2 furlong to go. It's Chartwell Jock in front, just over a length and clear from Without Compromise. Then comes Universal Story, but Chartwell Jock will pretty much make all the running and goes on to collect. From in second place Without Compromise, third Universal Story, not far away. They were clear of Crackalacken.
Chartwell Jock, the 7 breaks the maiden 7.36 in race number 4 from Wolverhampton. Well done if you had it up on top.
We all do it. We've all been doing it since horse racing began.
Come on, kid, let's go, Yankee!
Some of us are serious, some not so much. But we all do it. From the excited, to the chilled, to the armchair jockeys, or to the shocked. We all love to cheer home a winner. Make every moment more. FanDuel Racing. Cheer home your next winner.
Monday afternoon looks to be a loaded one. If you're looking to jump in and play, head across to the FanDuel Racing app where you will see Caleb Keller's top endorsements and CK best bets, top tips. You've identified 3 races at the fairgrounds today that have your attention.
And we're going to focus on the first 3 races on the card as we get set for race 1. Here's the deal with race 1. All these horses are kind of off a dud. Every horse in this race either performed poorly or got beat at least 6 lengths. But if we dig down the past performances on the number 6, Alexa Playborn to run. The 6, actually, the last time they were in a $5,000 race on a fast track with Aubrey Green, they won. And that's the setup they're going to get here today. So in a race where you're kind of digging through bad last out race and try to figure out, I dug down, I feel like, to find a proper level here for the 6.
Alexa Playborn to run, the 6 in there at 5-2. The opener just 12 minutes out from post time. What about race number 2? Who's going to be the standout at the fairgrounds?
Okay, so race number 2 is going to be for the maidens. And if we look at the number 3 here in this lineup, She's Single again. This horse was having gait problems. Off slow, off slow, off slow. And then last time, the 3 actually broke. So if they can take those new skills getting out of the gate in a race that doesn't have much speed from the inside, and they're dropping back down in class. So I just like the fact that the 3, after having 3 straight bad starts to begin the career, last time they finally hit the ground running. Now they're at a better level with C.J. McMahon and the inside post.
Sitting there at a nice looking price. That is in race number 2 from the fairgrounds. Let's round it out. Race number 3, who are we taking?
Okay, so I love the progeny of Good Magic. They're just absolute tigers. I'm telling you, Dubs, they're going to hammer the 1, Zadorsky, in this race. Whit Beckman, Jose Ortiz, best connections. The 1 has great numbers. I just don't know if I trust the 1 at 2 turns. We've seen the 1 mostly at sprint configurations. Meanwhile, the 6, Low Country Magic. This horse got bet on debut at Keeneland and won, and last time out the 6 was second to Windy Walk. Windy Walk is a real tough horse to deal with on the front end. So in a race where I feel like they're gonna really bet the 1, I'll take the better price on the 6, comes in fresh and was second to a really nice horse last out.
I like it. 6-3-6 in race number 3 from the fairgrounds. You find all of those plays within the FanDuel Racing app. What a Monday afternoon we have on tap. That opener just about 10 minutes out from post time. So new customers, if you're looking to to jump in and play. No sweat first bet up to $500 could be waiting for you over at the FanDuel Racing app. Just scan that QR code, sign up, download where you can play today. It's time for a quick commercial timeout. On the other side, we are getting set for the Monday opener from the fairgrounds. We are getting set for live racing from Fairgrounds. The opener just 6 minutes out. It will be a claiming event for the fillies and mares, the 4-year-olds and up, going 6 furlongs. Track listed as fast. We've got dueling check marks for this one, Caleb. The 6, the current favourite, sitting at 5-2. And taking a look at the chances here. Alexa, play Born to Run. You made a glowing endorsement before that last commercial timeout. And the 6-year-old mare, a very consistent type, Caleb.
So I had the chance to cover the Haskell Stakes at Monmouth just one time, and just how they play my old Kentucky home before the Kentucky Derby. Well, before the Haskell, they play Born to Run by the boss himself, Bruce Springsteen, one of the favorite sons of New Jersey. And that's a walk I really remember. I was walking out to the track behind Cyberknife, who ended up winning that race, but just hearing Bruce Springsteen blasting Born to Run on the loudspeaker at Monmouth Park there in New Jersey for their big marquee $1 million Grade 1 race, that was quite amazing. So Alexa, she'll play Born to Run later on this year for the Haskell.
The 6 sitting at 5-2 on the wagering side of things. We will have the pick 3 and 50-cent pick 5 starting right here with race number 1. So if you're looking to jump in, craft up a couple of holiday wagers, if you will, you're going to have to move quickly across to the FanDuel Racing app. As they now make their way out onto the course, we'll take you through a post-parade. A couple of big prices outside of the top 3 threats, and we'll make a case for a couple of those. I like the look of the runner next door to your top selection, Caleb. I thought the 7 was a chance for this one, but let's start with the 1. Got a mind of buying, 6-year-old mare.
I mean, I don't think the 1's impossible. I'll come back to the 1, but you gotta like find excuses through basically the whole field. The 2 last out was really poor, but that was a tougher race. That was a sloppy race. and that was the race before a layoff. So the 2's looking to get better today. The 3 didn't look bad at all coming on the racetrack, but the form doesn't look as good. It seems like the 3's a little bit better on the turf, and of course we're on the main dirt track today.
Stormy Valentine, the 4 up next in a 20-1, has shown a bit of early speed, but took a back step last out right here at the fairgrounds, going the 6 furlongs. Here is the 5 in Storm, should be coming from off the pace.
Here is the 6 coming through for Elite Thoroughbred Racing, 2-1 off a second place effort. The 7 Drop Dead Sexy, an 8-time winner, and this is going to be the 30th start here today.
Could be there with the early speed types off the field. Here is the 8 Ours in Theirs, more of a sustained run style, so from that outside draw should be rattling as they turn for home. That's your field for race number 1 coming up from the fairgrounds. 3 minutes to post time. That can only mean one thing, Caleb. Let's get that air horn dusted off for the Monday afternoon play of the hour. Let's get it. Going against your favourite, Caleb. Hate to be that guy, but Drop Dead Sexy, the 7, made a bit of sense for me. The early speed, I like the setup that we're going to get from that starting spot. Has the fitness coming back in here today. Drop Dead Sexy, 3rd up, so in terms of where we find this one in the form cycle, should be willing and ready to give that best effort, and of course a distance winner, so has had plenty of success right here at the fairgrounds and at this particular distance of the 6 furlongs where we've been for the last couple out there in the slop, so that really didn't suit, but I think with a bit more fitness should be there as a big factor late in this one. So the 7 Drop Dead Sexy, play of the hour for me, come up from the fairgrounds. We do have prices coming through from Wolverhampton, race number 4. Chartwell Jock, the favourite, fired with a big one.
And without compromise, ends up coming on for 2nd. And Universal Story was 3rd, but Chartwell Jock was 1-5 at one point in the wagering. Floats up just slightly, but always had the race in command. Went right to the lead and never looked back.
736, unofficial order of finish there. Official order of finish, I should say, in the 4th. So let's get back to the fairgrounds, getting set for the Monday opener. Just 2 minutes out from post time. Taking a look at a couple of the threats. Got him in a bind is the 1. Absolutely butchered that name going through the post road. So big apologies there for the 6-year-old mare at a big price of 18-1. There is my not long shot play of the hour, the 7 sitting at 3-1 as the pick 5 total pool continues to build nicely here for the Monday card.
Well, for the Grey, 3 is the absolute magic number right now because the 7 is 3-1. And also for the 7, the last 3 times that the 7 has had a clear lead through a half mile, they won all 3. And there's a great chance the 7 is clear today. And then also the 7 has 3 wins locally at the fairgrounds, and the most anywhere else in the field would be 1. So I think that's the point here for the 7. I mentioned the 1. The 1 has horrible form coming in, 9th, and 6th. But if you look a little closer, if we're just trying to make a case for a 20-1 shot, you could argue that the 1 has 3 straight excuse races. 2 and 3 starts ago, the 1 was facing allowance foes. That was too tough. And then last time, the 1 was at Delta going 2 turns, and this is a 1-turn race. So it'd be kind of generous to just cross off those 3 races. But if you got rid of those long odd races for the 1 in bad spots, and you look 4 or 5 starts back, then you get a 2nd, nice win, 12-length romp. So I didn't think the 1 was impossible to try to catch a sliver here.
At 19-1, got him in a bind. Could be worthy of a little place or show wager. So many different ways to jump in and have a bet within that FanDuel Racing app. Not just about that single win ticket up on top of who's going to win the race. You can play within the race. You can play across the card. For a lot of you horizontal players, really looks to be a nice Monday afternoon on tap. And taking a look at this one, not so easy. So top choice here is the 6 at 9-5. You like the favourite. I've gone next door, the 7 sitting there at 5-2. I've made a great case for the long shot. Got him in a bind. The 1 was 8-1. Now drifts out to 20-1 on the board. What about the 2, Caleb? Zipping Molly. Could be an early speed type, but hasn't raced in a good 6 months. May need a start or 2 back.
It would seem like that. When I'm looking at layoff horse, I'd be more prone to play a stakes horse off a layoff as opposed to a claiming horse. But, you know, the 1 bad race, I think we can pretty easily strike it out. It was the race before a layoff. It was also an allowance. The 2, we know, is a 5-claimer. It's been a 5-claimer for a long time and pretty good at the level. They tried to get too ambitious with the deuce. Last time, it was back in July. Race was too tough, and it got ugly there. They finished dead last. But you cross that one out. If the 2 never raced, last time out, the 2 would be the favorite in this event.
Daisy Dioro is the 3, sitting at 9-1. Certainly has the back speed to fall back on, has mixed it with tougher foes, but got to a nice level last out and just never got going late. Had a bit of speed from the jump, but really looked to tire off.
Yeah, and the speed I'm interested to see because the 7 looks like they got the keys to the car here early. Who else is going to get brave, or do they try to tackle the gray here on the front end? But it looks like there is one pace setter in the race.
We are getting set for the Monday opener from the fairgrounds. If you're playing along, best of luck. We'll send it out on course.
Here in Chile Gentili. Here comes the first. They're in the gate. Away and running at the fairgrounds. Drop Dead Sexy broke sharp. Stormy Valentine with the purple cap and toward the inside. Zipping Molly as they go up the back end. Jose Guerrero stepping right on the accelerator as Drop Dead Sexy has dashed away to an early 6-length lead. Going past the half-mile pole from Stormy Valentine. With Alexa Play Born to run in third. Daisy Dioro in fourth. Zipping Molly fifth with the rail. Ours and theirs wide from post 8. And then comes Got him in a bind second to last. And after 3 furlongs beaten for pace, and Storm trails here in the Monday opener. The opening quarter for the gray leader, Drop Dead Sexy, 22.24 seconds coming toward the quarter pole. Drop Dead Sexy leads by 3. Stormy Valentine, Alexa Play Born to run. Daisy Dioro straightens away in fourth. Ours and theirs got him in a bind on the front side. Zipping Molly and finally and Storm. These bears straighten away half mile. 46.48 seconds. It's Drop Dead Sexy. Challenged toward the inside by Stormy Valentine. And here's Daisy Dioro across the track with 1 furlong to go. Ours and theirs fourth, but lugging in. And Storm toward the inside has a white cap with Jose Riquelme. It's Daisy Dioro. She's come away in front. They're near home. Ours and theirs. Daisy Dioro. Daisy Dioro trying to hold Ours and theirs. Daisy Dioro does it from Ours and theirs. And Storm third and Stormy Valentine finished fourth.
Daisy Dioro delivers there with race number 1. It was the 3 over the 8 over the 5.
Man, this horse a little drop in class for the 3, but this horse was 10th, 8th, and 7th. We mentioned how there's all kinds of bad races here in this field. The 3 had never won on the dirt in the entire career, but gets it done here today at 5-1. The 8, we knew the 8 would be way far back, but the 8 does pedal on here for second. And in the end, the 3 with Jose Riquelme seemed like the numbers were way better on the turf, but gets the first ever dirt win today.
Daisy Dioro gets it done. They're going off at 5-1. Well done. You had the 3 up on top. We'll wait until those prices to go official. For now, we're sneaking in a quick timeout. On the other side, we're getting you set for a monster weekend ahead out at Gulfstream Park. It is Pegasus Week.
This weekend, FanDuel TV has championship racing from across the country. Live from Gulfstream Park, it's the Pegasus World Cup, where racing's biggest stars go head-to-head for glory. At Santa Anita, we'll be trackside for older horses in the Grade 2 San Pasquale. And from Oaklawn, we'll be on track live for the Grade 3 Southwest Stakes, a Kentucky Derby prep. Live coverage coast to coast, only on FanDuel TV.
It's going to be a great weekend right here on FanDuel TV. We're getting set for the Pegasus World Cup, and we're taking a look at the field for the filly and mare turf, Grade 2, $500,000 on the line. And we'll go off as race number 10 on Saturday afternoon. Rakia, the one, sitting there at 4-1 on the morning line with star international pilot Frankie Dettori in the irons.
And this was on the undercard on Breeders' Cup Saturday at Del Mar, so you know it was a good field. And when we look at these European races, we've really been focusing in on this stallion, Blue Point. Because we know almost all the European stallions are bred to run forever, but Blue Point has a big speed component, and they put that to play here in this race. Now, I think that from the rail, I don't see them getting that easy of a lead, and I do think that to some degree the distance is in question because we've mostly been playing the Blue Point sprinting, but of course this is going to be a long mile and a 16th.
Rakia, the one inside, starting draw there, and a nice looking 4-1 on the board. Let's take a look at Be Your Best, the 3 sitting at 6-1. Really good betting weekend coming up, and a really good chance here for Be Your Best.
Well, anytime a horse gets into good form and it was after a change, you have to take note because Be Your Best, okay, 3 starts ago was in the Rodeo Drive and finished 6th. But the last 2, they've both been wins. And what happened? They took the blinkers off. So I think that Be Your Best is better with the hood off. And then Papilio has always had a big, nice, flashy late kick. Papilio can really strut the stuff there down the lane. But this was a heck of an effort, and Be Your Best was at their best with the blinkers off.
Both runners exiting this race at the back end of December right here at Gulfstream Park. One of the heavy hitters and could be a very, very tough out is Sacred Wish, the 10 sitting at 9-2, Johnny V to pilot.
You know, early in her career, she actually started on the dirt. She was on the trail to the Oaks, was, you know, a head away from winning the Grade 1 CCA Oaks. And black-type thoroughbreds, I really like this outfit. They know how to purchase good fillies, and this horse won the Grade 1 Matriarch. This is a race that could make a career, and Dubs was 12-1 with John Velasquez, and John Velasquez is going to ride back.
This was a big effort down at the Seaside Oval, so Sacred Wish, winner of the Matriarch, pointed towards the filly and mare turf. Let's take a look at Fluffy Socks, the 5 sitting at 5-1. So all of these runners hovering right around the same number there for the morning line. Irad Ortiz was aboard for this performance up at Woodbine.
Well, we're going to show the best race for this one, and they absolutely just ski away. They're winning this one by a big margin. Now, this was when the turf course was really soft. We have not seen this horse win on the firm ground in the last year and a half. So this wasn't the strongest of fields. It was a Grade 3. I think the horse liked the going. Now on Saturday, they have to prove they can do this on a firmer turf course.
Fluffy Socks in the Gala Red, taking aim on Saturday from South Florida. Our full team will be live out there on site to get you up to speed. The $3 million Pegasus World Cup Invitational, the World Cup Turf, and the filly and mare turf as well. Get excited. It really is a great week in the sport. It is Pegasus Week. Keep it right here on FanDuel TV. Plenty more coming up on the other side. Welcome back into FanDuel TV. We are getting set for race number 5 from Wolverhampton, just 3 minutes out from post time. They'll be going the distance of 1 mile and an 8 out on the all-weather service handicap event here. So top rated will be at the top of the board, but it's down towards the 10, starting at 8-5 as the favourite, Caleb.
And, you know, the 10 by Ulysses, third start off the shelf. The one thing that's very noticeable about the 10 is the distance of this race. So the 10 had been sprinting, and then all of a sudden, they went to the mile, and they got a win and a second. Now the 10 goes even further today. So other horses in this race have been going the longer distance, whereas the 10 has kind of worked their way up to these route distances, and it's starting to excel.
Getting a good look here at the 6, sitting at 10-1. That's going to be Port Noir, the 8-year-old mare who comes in for Robert Stevens in the team. Very consistent type. The 8-year-olds had 86 lifetime starts with 10 wins, 6 of those being right here at this course.
86 starts for a thoroughbred is no joke, and you mentioned those 10 wins. 10 wins, 11 seconds, 10 thirds, so the 6 have been very, very consistent. The 9 still going well at the age of 9. Carey Street, who was third last time. Holly Doyle going to ride here. Holly was aboard 3 starts ago. That was a turf race. This, of course, is going to be a synthetic race. And if you want those past performances, they are free at FanDuel Racing. Go to the handicapping store, and you can download any international past performances for free there on the web and on the app.
Jump in, play, come up with your own form and winning selections as we move through a busy Monday afternoon. It looks like they're just going to put that starting gate into the correct position, then they will start to load all of these runners. It stays the same though, the 10 sitting at 8-5 as the 1 to beat. Second choice right now looks to be the 4 at 4-1. Al-Bahi, the 6-year-old gelding for Kevin Frost, showed a bit of improvement last out. Nice runner-up, gets back to a very competitive level here today. So the 4 at 4-1 certainly makes a lot of sense if you're looking outside of the top choice. The 9 hovering around 6-1 with the fractionals, and we've got the 8 at 12-1. So we have seen a couple of big prices rolling through. That's the great thing about some of the international racing to start off our new racing and betting week here on FanDuel TV. Let's see if we can get another one home. But the bettors, Caleb, really identified the 10 as the one to beat.
And the 10 and 4 look very similar. They were at shorter distances, and the trainer has slowly built them up to longer races. And even with the 4 and 10 stretching out, they're actually going to stretch out even further today. At least the 10 will. They're going to go an extra 1/8 of a mile. So, you know, other horses in the race have been going at like the super long distances. A horse like the 6 can run, you know, forever. The 7, they're both, the 7 was originally entered, but some horses have been going much longer, but the favorites actually have been going shorter, and now they are building up to today's carded 9 furlong distance.
That's Holly Doyle, your jockey aboard Carey Street, the 5 sitting at 6-1. Also looks to be a live player here. Comes in for trainer Tony Carroll in the barn. The 9-year-old had a bit of success last season. Always seems to be hanging around, but does struggle to finish off a lot of these races. Holly Doyle was aboard this gelding, going 3 starts back. Hasn't had the mount in the last 2, but gets the riding duties again here today.
That was awesome to see Holly Doyle at the Breeders' Cup. That's another one of the big things is that, of course, you see the best horse in the world, but you also see the best riders in the world. Dubs, to have a chance to see a guy like Christophe Lumiere, who rides predominantly in Japan. He's been essentially their top rider for a solid half-decade. And, you know, we see your Will Buick. He comes over quite a bit on appointment, but a guy like Christophe Lumiere, he pretty much only comes over for the Breeders' Cup. So your Lumieres and Holly Doyles of the world, love seeing them in America for the World Championships.
We'll get to see William Buick this Saturday out at Gulfstream Park. It is Pegasus week, but the live action continues here for your Monday afternoon. With that, let's get out there. It's race number 5 from Wolverhampton.
Kitaro Kitch, Neil Callan. All set. And they're off. Over 1 mile and half a furlong for this Boost Your Acca with BetMGM handicap. The grey Guito got away quite well. So did Carey Street, and out wider Port Noir with Marinakis right up against the rail. The purple and beige also handily ridden. So going around the bend, Holly Doyle takes a look across, and Carey Street just being edged across carefully from Marinakis, who's alongside Guito. Out wider, getting closer, Port Noir. Luke Morris makes a move also to get a handy early position. In behind is Al-Bahi in the yellow and red stripes, who's plenty keen enough. The nose-banded Whiteley Ways on the inside. Then comes Kitaro Kitch in behind them as they go down the back straight. Pessoa is one of those held up towards the back with the noseband, and so's Viva Voce in the white and green silks. So down the far side, Carey Street and Holly Doyle leads. From in second place is Port Noir. Marinakis is in third place, then tucked right in behind is Guito the Grey. Up against the inside rail is Whiteley Way with for company Al Bahi. Then comes Kitaro Kitch, who's 3 from the back under Neil Callan. Pessoa comes next in the noseband, the red and black colours. And at the back of the field is Viva Voce as they now begin the turn towards the final 3 furlongs. Carey Street leading by just over a length to Port Noir in second place. Marinakis handily positioned. Then comes Guito, followed through by Whiteley Way and Gina Mangan. Then comes Al Bahi. They're followed by Kitaro Kitch. Then comes Pessoa and Viva Voce. Kicking from the front is Holly Doyle on Carey Street. Port Noir immediately tries to cover that move. Marinakis tucked right in behind and being ridden along. Coming from the back, Kitaro Kitch is making some headway. Out wider, Whiteley Way is in the clear. Pessoa tries to pick them up as well. Kitaro Kitch, though, has gone to the front and has quickly moved clear. From in second place now is Pessoa, but up towards the line, Kitaro Kitch will win for the first time. Pessoa is second, Marinakis tight for third with Whiteley Way, and then came Port Noir and the others.
Kitaro Kitch comes up clutch in the 5th from Wolverhampton. It was the 3 over the 9. Nice little 8-1 winner getting it done. We'll wait until those prices go official as we do welcome in prices from the fairgrounds. Daisy Dioro, the 3 delivers. Nice start to the betting afternoon. 10-cent super, $288 in change, but it was the 3 getting it done.
You know, the last few races maybe were a little bit too long, but just a tough horse to come up with. The whole field was coming off of dud races, and I think the 3 did excel coming back to a sprint configuration and ends up paying a nice $13.60.
Couple of nice prices underneath there as well. Well done if you hit the winner in race number 1. We now look ahead to race number 2 on the program from the fairgrounds. Just 12 minutes out, it will be a maiden claiming event for the 3-year-old fillies. She's single again. Top endorsement here for the bettors and yourself, Caleb, sitting at 5-2. We do have a scratch to note. The 6, My Bossy Lady, will not go here in the second.
And, you know, when you look at this event, the 3 and 8 are coming out of the same race. The 3, hopefully, in my mind, has a little bit more speed. The 8 might have a little more late kick. And don't forget about the 1, the first-time starter, the Uno, taking some play here from the fence.
Monday racing continues from the fairgrounds. Race number 2, just 12 minutes out from post time. If you're looking to jump in and get involved, it really is a fast start to a new week. And what a weekend it was out at the fairgrounds. We're going to take a quick time out, but on the other side, we're looking back to the Grade 3 Lecomte Saturday evening underneath the bright lights. Stick with us.
here at Fairgrounds, the Grade 3 LeCompte, $250,000 and 42 Kentucky Derby qualifying points on the line.
We're going to see you aboard the highly regarded Disco Time. How should he handle the route of ground in the LeCompte?
Well, I think, he ran a mile last time, at Churchill, and he handled it pretty good. Today is just only an extra 16, but the horse is coming into the race good. He's been working good in the morning, and excited to see what he can do.
It is Disco Time from Brad Cox, who is your post-time favorite.
He does have to prove that he can stretch his talents out to 2 turns. He's the son of Not This Time, who can literally run on any type of surface. I think he should handle this main track just fine.
Sloppy track under the Saturday night lights here at the fairgrounds. And they're off in the LeCompte Stakes.
Here with the trainer Brad Cox, the number 11 Disco Time. Were you nervous at all seeing him far back?
Very.
Disco Time still well back, 3 furlongs to go.
We actually thought he'd be a little bit closer to the pace. Kind of thought we might track Bill a little bit further behind him.
Built toward the rail, and Disco Time tries to unwind on the extreme outside.
Why not let him get his feet underneath of him and come rolling down the middle of the track.
Golden Afternoon coming with a charge. Built is also moving up between horses.
And let him kind of gather himself up and finish up strong.
Disco Time on the outside, Magnitude's in tight quarters. Maximum Promise toward the inside, it's still Innovator. Here's Built, and on the outside, Disco Time for Florent Giroux. Disco Time, Disco Time, Disco Time, getting up the LeCompte Stakes.
This is a horse with a very bright future.
Yeah, thank you. I appreciate it, Andy.
Disco Time from off the pace gets the score.
He had to circle the field, lost so much ground around the final turn, and then he closes out in the center of the racetrack. That was a really big effort.
Yeah.
The LeCompte going to the very talented Disco Time.
Disco Time was dancing on Saturday, taking out the Grade 3 LeCompte and picking up 20 points towards the Kentucky Derby. Taking a look at the leaderboard, Citizen Bull up on top with 40. Coal Battle, Disco Time and Built now sitting there with 20 points apiece, in Gaming in that 5 spot sitting there with 18. Caleb, big performance from Disco Time, but had to get it done in a different way for trainer Brad Cox.
And he needed a bath, a warm bubble bath after that, because he was all covered in mud, but was able to get up and get the win. And, I think he looks a lot like the Stallion, Not This Time, who never got to, fulfill his promise on the Derby Trail, but now he's got plenty of sons and even daughters on the Oaks Trail that are doing it for him. So I know that everything they said about this horse did come to fruition. Yes, the time was not robust, but all the circumstances involved was still a heck of a win.
Citizen Bull up on top there with 40. At this point of the season, Caleb, the winner of the Kentucky Derby this year may even be off this board right now, but there's a runner middle of the pack that you've got your eye on.
Okay, let's look at number 16, Tiz-tastic, who's going to go this weekend in the $1 million Grade 3 Southwest. And when you're handicapping this race this week, I want you to really focus in on this race, the Street 10. Okay, now the winner, Sovereignty. A lot of bettors are playing the number 10 Sovereignty, who's going to win this race. Tiz-tastic is going to finish second, but Sovereignty went off at about 20-1 in the Derby pool. That's a real serious horse. But I want you to go back and watch this entire race. This was a really bad trip, I thought, for Tiz-tastic. Still gets second. He had a bad start. Nothing in the comment or the chart indicates this horse got pushed out in the first turn abruptly. Nothing in the comment says anything about that. And he made the first run into a hot pace. So you put that all together, ends up second being 5 lengths, but I thought it was way better than that when you examine the trip.
Let's take a look at the field for the Southwest Stakes coming up this weekend from Oaklawn Park. $1 million on the line. Gaming, short price on the board at 2-1. Patch Adams there at 5-2, closely following. Your horse here, Caleb, the one to watch, Tiz-tastic, the 4 sitting at 10-1 on the morning line. We've got the starting 4 that are going to be out there live on site. Dave Weaver, Scott Hazelton, Andy Biancone and Ashley Mayu to get us up to speed for the $1 million Southwest Stakes. We will get to see Oaks points on the line there as well with the Martha Washington. All of that great racing and action coming up this weekend. It is Southwest weekend and it cannot come fast enough. So between now and then, let's see if we can stuff the bankroll with a couple of winners as we now get set for the second from the fairgrounds. Just 3 minutes out, Caleb.
And we got a maiden $15,000 event for the fillies. Got a first-time starter here from the rail for Rob Atras, a filly by Slumber. Now, the pedigree says that the one should probably do better with turf and distance in the future, but goes out for a good operation and did take some sneaky play to open the board.
Miss Louise, the one rolling through here is the 2, Cruisin' Van Nice, the 3-year-old filly trained by Chris Hartman. Gets to take advantage of a bit of a weight break.
Speaking of Chris Hartman, here's the fancier choice. I just hope the 3 can build on the fact that they finally broke out of the gate last time out. The 4, filly by Hardspun. I think maybe more distance could be ripe in the future. The 5 didn't get a lot going in 2 starts, but comes in from basically a Halloween layoff from last year.
Princess Kalani, the 5 sitting at 56 to 1. Big price. My Bossy late. Well, here's the 7, Birthday Girl, now at 5 to 1.
Little Bit of Storm comes through. The 8's got a nice kick for McPeak and Hernandez coming off the pace. The 9, Golden Bonita, is out there by Tourist. And then the number 10, 24 grand. Going to have Jairon Barbosa as the new pickup rider.
That is your field for race number 2 coming up from the fairgrounds. We are just 2 minutes out from kickoff. Let's take a look at what else we have on tap this hour. International racing continues from Wolverhampton. The 6th of the evening, 30 minutes past the hour going off. The party continues from the fairgrounds. At top of the hour, we welcome in live racing from the great race place of Santa Anita.
A really fun afternoon here. We have a WinBet Insurance going to be in play. That'll be the 8th race at Santa Anita. We previewed that maiden event earlier. And then the No Sweat First Bet up to $500, and the QR code right side of your screen will take you to your destination.
Jump in, get involved at the FanDuel Racing app as the live action continues right here on FanDuel TV. So I'm taking a look at what's on offer for the wagering menu with this one. 50-cent pick 4 coming up with race number 2 from right here at the fairgrounds. We appreciate you coming along for the ride. Hopefully you had a profitable weekend and you've seen it the same here to start your Monday. Favoritism points towards the 3 here at 9 to 5. She's single again. One thing we have seen for this filly early in the career here, Caleb, may try and go forward. It looked to better things last out and gets a slightly softer spot. Stays at the maiden claiming ranks here today, but looks to be a softer spot than where we were at to start the year.
This is going to tell us a lot about where the 3 is at in her career, because again, the first 3 starts, the 3 broke 9th out of 9, 10th out of 12, and 8th out of 8. But finally, last time, the 3 broke well enough and actually got in second early. So does the 3 build on that gate skill, or do they regress back to the mean? I'm hoping they build on it to get out here of the blocks. I think the 3 is going to be well ahead of the 8, and in a maiden race, I don't mind taking the horses that are more forward. The one disappointment in the race, Dubs, how did the number 7, Birthday Girl, not win last out on January 1st? It would have been so perfect there for all thoroughbreds' birthdays, but Birthday Girl still looking for that first ever win.
Was bumped in that last race on the 1st. Has had a tough time getting out of the gates. It makes start number 3 here today. That is the 7, Birthday Girl, sitting at 9 to 2. A little bit of storm. The 8 sitting at 2 to 1. You highlighted going through the post parade. Nice closing kick from what we saw at the 6 furlongs with the last race right here at the fairgrounds.
You know, my price in the race, Dubs, was actually going to be the 9, Golden Bonita. Okay, so the 9 had humble beginnings. The first few starts for the 9 were not good. But notice how the 9 actually was the favorite twice at Prairie Meadows. Doesn't hurt to have some public backing. And then, how about this? The 9 came off a layoff and unexplainably went to a maiden special weight versus million times better and ran decent. Actually ran 5th out of 8, got a new career high speed figure. Then the 9 faced these common foes, faced the 3, faced the 8, and the 9 had a bad trip. Check out the comment line. The 9 checked in that race and was wide. And then last time out, the 9 was in a race too long on the turf. So I thought the Golden Bonita has shown some sneaky improvement, has faced these horses with trouble, and actually has taken some play and faced tougher competition. So I didn't mind the chances of the 9 to try to hit the board here.
Making a couple of changes here this afternoon. Sits there at a nice looking price of 8 to 1. Outside runner, 24 grand. The 10 sits at 35 to 1. Not even the longest shot on the board. That would be the 5 at a big old number of 61 to 1. Take a look at the monster long shot. Princess Kailani makes start number 3. Runs on Lasix for the first time and gets back to the 6 furlong. So let's see with a little stretch out if the 5 can outrun that monster price. Favoritism still pointing towards the 3 here at 9 to 5. Your top endorsement. She's single again in an uncontested lead in this game, Caleb. Quite a dangerous thing, but a great asset to have, especially at this level.
We saw, I'm still puzzled by race 1. That was such a quandary, that race 1 claiming race. But, the opening race, at least, it's only a one-race scenario, but the horses did make a pretty good impact from well off the pace. So we'll see how the track plays. It is drying out. We saw how much rain it took on Saturday. They did get to a fast track yesterday, so just in one day, it was able to dry out to a fast track and then no rain overnight. So I think we're on an even firmer fast track than yesterday, talking about the fairgrounds.
These prize pools continue to climb here for your Monday afternoon. If you've jumped in and you're playing the pick 4, best of luck, $82,000, and we're not done yet. Let's see how it all plays out. It's the second from the fairgrounds.
And they're off. She's single again, broke slow, drifts back to last. Golden Bonito rockets away for Jose Riquelme. 24 grand is right there with the bid. Toward the inside, Cruisin' Van Nuys is a close third, with Princess Kyolani running in fourth through the first furlong and a half. A little bit of storm is fifth. Toward the inside, Miss Louise, the daughter of Slumber, making her bow. She's in tight quarters. Birthday Girl is posted wide, along with Coeur Rouge between fillies, and She's Single Again trails the maiden 3-year-old filly sprint. The quarter 22.81 seconds. They round the far turn, aiming on Golden Bonita with 3 furlongs to go. It's Golden Bonita who rounds the far turn in front of 24 grand, a length and a half. Cruisin' Van Nuys, little bit of storm, is gearing up for a run, along with She's Single Again in the purple cap. Then Princess Kyolani, Miss Louise, Birthday Girl. Coeur Rouge is last as they straighten away into the stretch. It's Golden Bonita, half mile in 47.21 seconds with Jose Riquelme. Golden Bonita leads the way. 1 furlong away for Golden Bonita. She's Single Again, Birthday Girl with the red cap. Little bit of storm. Then to the inside, Cruisin' Van Nuys, Miss Louise with some late interest. But here's Birthday Girl for Axel Concepcion. She's come right over the top. Little bit of storm toward the inside with Golden Bonita. Birthday Girl. Birthday Girl on the wire near the stand side with little bit of storm. She's Single Again after breaking last. Golden Bonita, Miss Louise.
I can't call it. 8 and the 7, a split here for race number 2, Caleb.
It's the second straight time the number 7 has drifted through the lane, but I think they're going to drift right to the winner's circle here because the 7 does come widest of all. The 3 had another poor break. The 8 was making up the ground. The 9 had the lead, but the 7's going to get the spoils here. Left-handed stick from Axel Concepcion. Keep in mind, Axel had a really nice run this weekend in the LeCompte. He was 4th there with the long shot for Nick Vacareza. So Axel got him some Derby points over the weekend, and looks like they're going to get a win here in race 2.
Surging up the grandstand side. Hold all tickets. It is a close one for race number 2 from the fairgrounds. We're going to sneak in a quick commercial. On the other side, it's time for a little top 5. Caleb's top 5 Derby horses early on the radar. Stick with us. Welcome back into FanDuel TV. Never too early to get set for the first Saturday in May. The fastest, the most exciting 2 minutes in sport. But Caleb, pressure is on. You've come up with the top 5 horses that we need to know early on the radar here for 2025.
So we've made it through the 10-point Derby races. Now we're on to the 20-point. I say, you know what? Let's queue up a top 5 list. And at number 5, I'm going to go for journalism. This is a big, strong son of Curlin. He's out of a great mare, Mopatism. They paid a lot of money for this horse. And Curlin has basically done everything as a stallion in the Triple Crown. Curlin has sired a Belmont winner in Palace Malice. He has sired a Preakness winner in Exaggerate, and he's actually been the grand sire of 2 Derby winners, talking about Mage and Rich Strike. But Curlin has yet to have an actual son himself win the Kentucky Derby, and this is going to be his best chance this year. And Dubs, this race was so good, he got himself a little vacation, took a month off, and hit the reboot for the new year.
Journalism, a winner of the Los Al Futurity, Berta reasonably in the irons for that occasion. So journalism taking out that 5 spot. What about with that 4 spot? I'm sensing Breeders' Cup Juvenile.
How about a nice stubborn frontrunner talking about Citizen Bull? And we heard that this horse wanted the lead, and Martin Garcia, he's the right man to get on to the lead. So he got a good speed figure, got a 96 buyer. He's buy into Mischief. A lot of things to like. Now, if you had a little concern, him being dependent on the lead, it was almost a 20-year span of a winner of the Derby going gate to wire. 2002, War Emblem did it, led at every pole. And it took all the way to 2020 when Authentic did it again. So very hard to lead the Derby every step. And he did get a pretty comfortable lead in the Breeders' Cup Juvenile. But bottom line is, he's a soon-to-be champion and a multiple Grade 1 winner.
And sits up top of the Derby leaderboard with 40 points. Citizen Bull takes out your 4 spot. What about in that 3rd position? Who's a horse we need to know?
I had a chance to see my 3rd horse in person at Churchill Downs, talking about Barnes, who basically is the number 1 horse right now in the current odds. And I like a lot of things I've seen about Barnes. I mean, he was so green and unpolished when winning on debut. And then in the second start, he was a total finished product. He was perfectly rated. He took off very nicely. He ran straight. He switched leads on cue. So the wild thing about Barnes, this $3.2 million son of Into Mischief, he was so unrefined in race 1, and his buildup was enough to make him the favorite after the debut win. So if he was already the favorite after a maiden win, well, what does that do when he skis away from the field in the San Vicente? And even though the San Vicente is only 7 furlongs, keep in mind, Silver Charm won the San Vicente and won the Derby. Nyquist won the San Vicente and won the Derby. So it sharpens your speed to begin the new year, and this guy is a bundle of talent.
Yeah, big Bob Baffert making that return beneath the Twin Spires. Gotta like his chances there with Barnes. In that 2 spot, we saw this superstar over the weekend. Disco Time absolutely dazzled.
Now, on the final day of 2024, December 31st, we did my top 5 horses to watch list, and Disco Time was on there. Now, I thought about making him number 1, but I know y'all gonna accuse me of recency bias, so I'm gonna slate him in there at number 2. And yes, the speed figure players are gonna say that it wasn't that fast of a time, but my gosh, 100 wide, didn't seem to even like the track, should be closer to the pace. Horses never lost the race, and I'm telling you, Brad Cox was super high on this horse back in November, thought that this could be his best Derby prospect, and, well, here we are.
Caleb, we've got 4 of your top 5. It's early doors here, but the first Saturday in May is fast approaching. Who's taking that top score for you?
Now, I wanted to build in kind of the price evaluation with where these horses are ranking on my top 5 list. Now, I'm going to go for a recent maiden winner, talking about Metacat Road. Here, number 1, here you see Metacat Road. Now, keep in mind, Bob Baffert had not run at Churchill Downs in 3 years. So if he's going to go back, he's going to bring a winner. The first horse he entered at Churchill Downs was actually Metacat Road, but he was also eligible. He did not draw into that race, so then his 1A idea became Barnes. And instead of going to Churchill Downs, Metacat Road debuted in the Bob Hope, a stakes race where he was a really strong second. Yes, he was defeated, but he never got tired. And then he comes back and loops the field on opening day at Santa Anita. I think this horse can come from off the pace. He's by Quality Road, and they've always loved this horse. I feel like Bob, after the Juvenile, thought that his best 2 unraced horses were Barnes and Metacat Road. Well, the Derby pool just closed, and Barnes was 6-1, and Metacat Road was nearly 50-1. I do think that Barnes is slightly ahead of Metacat Road right now by about 8 buyer points, but as the distances get longer, I think that Metacat Road can really excel, and I don't sense he needs the lead. The other Baffert horses, Citizen Bull needs the lead, and Barnes is so fast he has to be on the lead. Whereas Madaket Road, being by a proper classic distance stallion, might be able to come from off the pace, and I really like his forward projection as the distances get longer.
Could be the horse to beat. Caleb Keller, nice looking top 5. Madaket Road taking that #1 spot. They're the horses that you need to know about the first Saturday in May. Not too far away. Getting a little closer. What about Monday racing? Holiday racing from the great race place, Santa Anita. Monday opener, just 30 minutes away. Stick with us. Back into FanDuel TV, we are getting set for the 6th from Wolverhampton. Across the pond we go. It looks like they're almost set for a start, so let's get out there. Good luck.
And they're off. First division over 7 furlongs for this Gamble Responsibly at BetMGM handicap. The one who's tucked right in at the back is Paulie Two Lockers. It's up against the rail is Anita Hero, and out wider in the pink is Rumba Bay. We've also up there taking a keen hold, Invincible Love in the mauve and black colours. Out wider is Missile Mac, the blue cap of Fred Daly. Up against the rail is Brown Gold and the white and blue check sleeves. The orange cap in behind with the noseband is Manton Road and Luke Morris. And then at the back of the field, Paulie Two Lockers after that slow beginning. Asheen Orr's got the rail, and out wider is Go Steelers Go and Richard Kingscote. So down the far side, it's Rumba Bay on the outside of Anita Hero. And Lewis Edmonds is only right here this evening. Missile Mac is out wider. With in-between runners there, Invincible Love. Up against the rail is Brown Gold. They're followed by Manton Road and Luke Morris, only 2 behind, Paulie Two Lockers. And Go Steelers Go just being pushed along as they now head inside the 3. Anita Hero is challenging for the lead with Rumba Bay. Missile Mac with right in behind them Invincible Love. Ridden along now Brown Gold. In 6th position is Manton Road, just moving into 5th place around the bend inside the 2 and begins to get closer. Then Go Steelers Go in behind with Paulie Two Lockers. Down the straight, Anita Hero by the rail. Getting a lovely split is Manton Road, who's come through now. Missile Mac is out wider, trying to pick up his Invincible Love as well. We're still there, Rumba Bay. It's Manton Road who has the advantage. Missile Mac out wider. Invincible Love trying to finish as well, being driven right out is Manton Road, and Manton Road will collect. Invincible Love was second. Missile Mac was in behind them with trying to stay on Paulie Two Lockers, and also out wider Go Steelers Go.
Manton Road, the 6, gets it done. Late money spot on there. 6-7-2 unofficial auto finish in race number 6 from Wolverhampton. With that, let's bring it back stateside. Fairgrounds race number 2 has gone official. We've got a couple of prices to share with you guys. Birthday Girl to 7 qualified with a big one. $12.80 for the $2 win investment, $6 for the place, $3.20 for the show.
And this Kelsey Danner, we showed the Leonardo Stakes over the weekend, and that was won by Baby Max, who is trained by Kelsey Danner. Looks like my man Grant Forster, though, there in the winner's circle with the cap on, one of my golf buddies from there in Louisville. He's got a game that, Dubs, you'd like to be a part of. They have basically like a PGA Tour event for trainers and gate crew in Kentucky, and they actually scratch out the odds and handicaps on a sheet of paper, and they play every Tuesday morning.
Sounds like a lot of fun. As long as I'm getting a couple either side, I'll be a happy camper. We now get set for race number 3 from Fairgrounds, 13 minutes out here. Zadorsky, the one, the inside runner, sitting as your even money favourite for Whit Beckman, fresh off a big weekend.
You know, we said to start the show that the one was going to get absolutely hammered in this race. 3-1, now even money, and you're going out for Whit Beckman, who's having this incredible start to the meet. You're going out for Jose Ortiz, who's having an incredible start to the meet, and the one has arguably faced the best competition.
That's your field for race number 3 from the Fairgrounds. We're going to sneak in a quick commercial, but on the other side, we're getting primed up for live racing from Santa Anita. Race number 1, just over 20 minutes away. Stick with us. You're watching FanDuel TV.
Saturday on FanDuel TV. On track live from Oaklawn, the Grade 3 $1 million Southwest Stakes takes center stage for 3-year-old hopefuls on the road to the Kentucky Derby. And Philly Shine and the Martha Washington. And they're off. A key prep for the Kentucky Oaks. With 6 stakes events on the card, FanDuel TV brings you all the Oaklawn action you won't want to miss. Play Saturday. First post, 1:30 Eastern, 10:30 Pacific.
Derby points on the line this weekend from Oaklawn, the Southwest. $1 million up for grabs, and a nice little measuring stick towards the first Saturday in May. Mystic Dan came out this race last year, eventual winner.
You mentioned the $1 million, Dubs, and the old saying there from the Field of Dreams, if you build it, they will come. And what have they built at Oaklawn Park? The purses. So when you're at $1 million and you're a couple races away from the Arkansas Derby, lots of reason. Now, Mystic Dan won this race last year, and I feel like handicappers over-handicap this performance. Now, what do I mean? Everybody said, oh, the rail was good, inside speed. Well, yeah, the rail was good this day. Horse won by 8 lengths. And at this point, this was the first triple-digit buyer on the Derby Trail last year. So yes, the inside was good, but my gosh, he skied away from the field. He was a solo shot past the wire. And I think that the handicappers, kind of knowing the inside was good, downgraded that performance. But to that point, that was the only 100 buyer, wins by 8 lengths, got a perfect trip. So that was also a good racetrack. Wasn't sloppy, wasn't muddy, but there was some rain and it was a good track, and essentially that's the exact same track that he got in the Kentucky Derby.
I feel like we're always battling a bit of weather at this time of year, so let's take a look at the field for the marquee event coming up this Saturday afternoon from Oak Lawn. While Baffert's had a lot of success, he's picked up 2 of the last 3, and Gaming, the inside runner sitting at 2-1, looks to be a big threat for this one.
Not to disparage the morning line, Dubs, but 100% the number 7 Patch Adams is going to be the favorite in this race. I mean, you got Pratt, you got Cox. The 7 Patch Adams, last time out, almost set a track record. Meanwhile, Gaming, this horse was second in the Breeders' Cup, but he got a friendly trip. He parked right there in second, off Citizen Bull, slow pace. Favorites never made a rally. It was a decent second, but last time out, Gaming was, 1-2 in the Los Al Futurity, was a disappointing third with an inside trip. So I think that he can get back on the beam to some degree, but I do not think that this horse will be the favorite. I think Patch Adams is going to be the favorite this weekend.
Patch Adams, the 7, sitting there at 5-2. You're projecting to go off as the favorite. Has a bit of success over at Churchill Downs. So let's take a look at that last effort beneath the Twin Spires. Maiden special weight, Patch Adams getting it done there with Florent Giroux in the irons.
Now, this was basically the closing weekend at Churchill. One thing you need to know, it was really cold and the times were exceptional. Every horse was giving you a blitzing time. But this specific race was just a tick off the track record, which was set by one of my all-time favorites, talking about Groupie Doll. So you look at the clock, this was exceptional. 120 and change? I mean, you just don't see horses win in that time. Now, the only concern, if I had one, is the horse too fast? Like, he's an absolute rocket. Now we get to see if he can ration out that speed at the 2-turn distance for the first time on Saturday.
Patch Adams, the 7, could be the early speed of that field. So the party continues this weekend from Oak Lawn. Hot Springs, Arkansas, with 4 of the best out there to get us up to speed. Dave, Scott, Andy, and Ashley Mayu, the Southwest Stakes, and the Martha Washington with Oaks points on the line as well. It's time for a quick commercial. The party continues on the other side. You're watching FDTV. 5th consecutive day live racing from the Great Race Place with two of the best to get us up to speed. Scott Hazelton, Kurt Hoover. Happy Monday, gentlemen. How are we looking out there in Arcadia?
Sunny afternoon, Dubs, and looking forward to a 10-race card. Happy Martin Luther King Day to you as we've got holiday action here at the Great Race Place. 4th day of racing this week with that added day.
5th.
On Thursday. 5th, excuse me.
5th. Your math skills are slipping.
Yeah, they are.
Yes, that's
Thursday, Friday, Saturday, Sunday, Monday. That's 5.
That happens with age and grade. That's the way things go. I can tell you from experience, Scott. Yeah, really good card today, Scott. 10 races, no stakes race, but I thought some very competitive races, some good turf racing, good field size. Pick 6 yesterday looked to be hit. It was for $1,200 and change, so we start from scratch. There's going to be a very, very, very short price single on the back end for a lot of people in that the final race, but we'll get to that later on.
And you've also gotten rid of a tried and true superstition here at the racetrack. You were handed two $50 bills, not just one, but two.
Right.
You don't want $50 bills at the racetrack.
Under any conditions.
And you had them turned in and got a voucher. So hopefully that's behind us.
A friend of mine stopped by who owed me $100. He gives me $250 and says, "Oh, come on." I said, "Really? Okay." So then I handed the $250s to our stage manager, said, "Get rid of these as soon as possible. Don't let them touch my other money or put them in my pocket. Buy me a voucher, set the voucher aside, and we'll start over." Superstition, Scott. And the funny thing is, it's only at the racetrack. It's not in Vegas, it's not in casinos, but it is a tired and true bad luck 50s at the racetrack. Must be a story, right? Must be like dead man's hand in poker. Something must have bad happen to somebody with a couple of 50s.
More than once for it to last as long as it has.
Exactly, Scott.
Running Spartan is the current favorite. That's the number 4 horse in the opener. We start with a maiden $50,000 claiming event for 4- and 5-year-olds, 6 furlongs on the turf course. Make it Umberto Rispoli. We mentioned this yesterday. We've had this announced each day of the race week here at Santa Anita. Kazushi Kimura off his mounts once again today. We knew that he was going to be off his mounts today as it was announced yesterday, so we hope that we can see Kazushi back next week because he had a lot of live mounts. Ooh. And Umberto Rispoli's picking up a few of them starting here in race number 1.
Scott, I was just going through Kimura's mounts. Tough break for him and his agent. Morning line for Kimura's mounts, 5-2, 4-1, 5-1, 5-2, and then a 12-1 shot. I mean, a lot of live horses, and you're right, start right in the opener with the rider change. I mean, I picked the favorite Running Spartan, Scott, but I thought this race could fall a lot of different ways. I thought there's a lot of price horses in there that had a chance. To me, it's not a real strong maiden 50.
Let's take a look back at Running Spartan. Not last time out. We're going to actually scratch that, but his race 2 starts back
went the way of the 250s out.
Yeah. Chuck it out. Didn't need it.
Backtrack, and the 250s are both gone.
But we've got to look at the horse that I like.
Okay.
That's Crazy Cavalier. And Crazy Cavalier claimed for Doug O'Neill and these connections last time out with Umberto in the saddle to get Antonio Fresu. Consistent horse, and I think the 6 furlong benefits him. 6 furlongs, rather. I know we're showing a 5/8 race. He runs a good second this day, getting up to finish second, beaten just a length and a quarter as the favorite. But I really think that the added distance in this trip that we saw him run back on the 19th of October, that was his best race. Hopefully that's a big reason why, is the distance. So I'll go likely second choice once the dust settles in the wagering on Crazy Cavalier, who's currently sitting at 3-1.
Agree 100% with you, Scott, and I make the point all the time. The only thing in common the sprint races on the turf at Del Mar and St. Anita have, the only thing is they're on grass. 2 totally different kind of races. These type of horses, to me, have a much better chance here on this course at St. Anita, especially with the distance. So I can see absolutely your pick on Crazy Cavalier. First off, claim for Doug O'Neill.
Our good friend Matt Halter. I've got to say, folks, this has been a long 5-day race week at the Great Race Place at Santa Anita, and today we got Kurt and myself and the rest of the crew ready for a 10-race card, Martin Luther King Day card. Matt's too young to remember when we raced 5 days a week.
Who is Matt Halter?
Matt is one of the most passionate young men that I've ever come across. And if you follow him on Twitter, which I know you don't because you're not active on Twitter, he loves the sport. His family loves the sport. One of his traditions is getting the racing underway from his living room at Gulfstream Park.
Okay. Our kind of guy.
He is our kind of a guy. So Matt, if you're watching, yeah, it's been 5 days, but there was a point not long ago where we raced 5 days.
How about 6 at Del Mar?
That's right.
And how about 18 straight at Pomona at the fair?
18 straight.
18 straight after Del Mar with no break. Yeah, long gone. That I can safely guarantee, Scott, none of that will ever happen again. 5-6 days of racing in Southern California.
Fairgrounds race number 3, heavy favorite Zadorsky, even money now down to 4-5. That's the number 1 horse with the blinkers going on for Whit Beckman. Jose Ortiz in the saddle. Clear second choice is the number 6 horse. That is Low Country Magic for Nacho Correas. moving up out of starter ranks into this first level allowance condition as we send you back to the studio.
Thanks, Scott. Thank you, Kurt. Getting excited. The opener from Santa Anita just 14 minutes out. We're getting set for a start here. Race number 3 from the Fairgrounds. Formidable favourite from the inside there. The one sitting at 4 to 5. That is Zadorsky. Let's see how it all plays out. We just await the final 3 to go into the starting gate, and they'll be ready to rock and roll. If you're playing along, best of luck.
Low Country Magic has gone all in. Marcelino Pedrosa Jr. with no what ifs. One more. Aguirrez with Bronte Ferry. Zadorsky, 4 to 5 favorite. They're in the gate. They're off. Kinky Crazy broke well in the middle. Toasted Roll showing speed. Toward the inside is Zadorsky. Midsummer March is forward, along with Low Country Magic coming up 4 wide. As they enter the first turn, it's Toasted Roll. So Toasted Roll leads out for Axel Concepcion from a close-up Kiki Crazy with a black cap. Low Country Magic, and toward the inside is Zadorsky. They're racing a joint third as these fillies of mare go to the back of the track. Midsummer March has posted a wide 5th. Starina in 6th between horses. Bronte Ferry found the rail. No what ifs has dropped back to last. 24.59 for the lead part. Making this run toward the half-mile pole, it's Toasted Roll. Toasted Roll leads a close-up Kiki Crazy, length and a half. Low Country Magic and Zadorsky. Due to the inside parts of the track for Jose Ortiz and Bronte Ferry, making headway with the rail, only 5 from the front. Starina is next between horses. And then Midsummer March wide. No what ifs remains last. The front runner, Toasted Roll still. Clocked the half mile in 49.19 seconds, steady as she goes. It's Toasted Roll, the leader, to 3 furlongs from home for Axel Concepcion. Now here's Zadorsky, who slides to the 2-path. Zadorsky takes a crack at Toasted Roll. Low Country Magic with Kiki Crazy between horses. Bronte Ferry with the rail. Starina in that cluster. No one else in Midsummer March has dropped back to last. They turn for home, and it's Zadorsky to take on Toasted Roll. They battle after 3 quarters. In 1 minute 14.18 seconds, Zadorsky and those in front. Toasted Roll between horses. And here's Bronte Ferry, brought up the rail by Edgar Morales. And Bronte Ferry strikes the top. Zadorsky looks to kick on. On the outside, Starina into third. Toasted Roll led, but has dropped back. It's Bronte Ferry. And Bronte Ferry will be first. Bronte Ferry by 2. Zadorsky was second, Starina third. Low Country Magic back and forth.
8-1-2, unofficial order of finish for race number 3 from Fairgrounds. Bronte Ferry, the 8, come rattling for home. Just stuck on the rail there, Caleb, and saved a bit of ground.
Yeah, sweet trip here up the Pines, 6 to 1. If you cross out the turf and the muddy races, the horse starts to look a lot better. And Tom Amos and owner Joe Politi, this is the team that brought you Serengeti Empress that won the Kentucky Oaks going a few years back.
Another winner there by Audible. So well done if you had Bronte Ferry, the 8, up on top. I'll wait for those prices to go official. Time for a quick timeout on the other side. We'll check back in with the team out there live on side for Santa Anita Monday Racing. Welcome back into FanDuel TV. Caleb Keller, Dubs Anderson, coming to you live from our Los Angeles studios. In a little weather update coming across during the break there, Caleb, with eyes pointed towards the Tuesday program from Parks no longer.
So they canceled today at Parks, and then maybe it's no surprise they canceled as well tomorrow. Jessica Paquette just announced it. And if you look at the temperatures in Bensalem, Pennsylvania, we're talking like in the 20s, but the most important thing is the wind chill. How does it actually feel? And the wind chill is actually more like in the single digits. So they have cowboyed up many times and run through some cold weather, but can absolutely not blame them for canceling today and just announced for tomorrow. And I think that Wednesday card going to be in jeopardy as well because it doesn't look to get any warmer on Wednesday.
We've got some nice international racing coming up early tomorrow, but later today the party continues from Santa Anita, not so much into the near future. Let's check in with Scott and Kurt as they get us ready for race number 1 out at the Great Race Place. Scott.
And fellas, we've got a good pool as far as the pick 5 is concerned. We'll get to Kurt's ticket in a moment. It's nearly $200,000 with 7 minutes to post. Ocala Kid starts off the post parade 7-1 at Gervin Gelding, who showed some improvement off the long layoff in start 2 of his career, and that was moving over to turf and also dropping in for 50.
Yeah, Scott, yesterday's early pick 5 here paid $7,800 for 50 cents. Arabian Flirt went through, not much form for him. Here's Come On Buddy, even trying his only start down at Delmar, now in the barn of trainer Jerry Wallace.
3-2 now on Running Spartan with Umberto in the saddle for Georgie P. First time in for a tag for the son of First Samurai. He's been somewhat consistent as far as his maiden special weight tries.
Mr. Fabricator makes his first start as a gelding. I thought the horse next to him had an outside shot. English Icon. Pressed the pace going long. He should be fit off that race. Herrera rides back for Mark Latt, and first time for a tag. Thought he was a live long shot at 9-1.
Crazy Cavalier now sitting at 7-2, so up a half a point from 3-1 about 5 minutes ago. 0 for 5 for this gelding. Doug O'Neill, first off the claim, strikes at a nice rate, 20% winners.
Alexis Barba owns, trains, and bred Annan, and she's pulling out all the stops today. Gelded, blinkers, Lasix. Nothing else you can do. All things of today.
Sandbagger, 24-1 for Bo Hirsch, owner, breeder, and trainer Gary Studi. Mr. Leisure is the number 10 horse, rounds out the post parade. And there he is, son of Distorted Humor for Tim Yakteen. Another one claimed out of his last race.
Claimed for 50. That was way back April 26th here at Santa Anita. Protected off the claim and gets Pratt. Those are both positive signs.
Pick 5 time, as we mentioned, and this is how you will approach it in the FanDuel Racing app.
Yeah, I'm going to take a little different approach today, Scott, because I really like 2 singles. I think there's 2 horses that are going to be very tough to beat in the middle of this pick 5. Now, in the opener, the 2 horses I like best, the one you picked, the one I picked, but I don't trust either one of them. I think this is a mishmash of horses dropping, horses coming off bad races. I just pushed the all button here, trying to catch something at a price. Race number 2 is Pleasanton South. I went 4 deep here. The 1 Happy Chappie for Cedro Tamayo comes off a nice win. Also used the 3 Topper's Chieftress for Tim McCanna. Also comes off a good win for 10. And then used the 5 Harney Lane, another Isidro Tamayo, and Tim Yakteen with Candy in the morning. So 4 deep there. Then come the singles. Not real creative, although one of them is not the favorite. Third race, I thought the 5 horse Touchdown Brown would be awful tough to beat. 1 Nicey for 32 last time. I think he catches a very soft kind of field here. Glatt runs him to win. You know he's got his issues. He's 7. He's been lightly raced, so I think they're just running where he can win. And then I'm going to take a shot with the second choice in race number 4. It's a horse I bet on last time in the Cecil B. DeMille, Laszlo for Jonathan Thomas. If you watch his race at Woodbine October 10th, way better than running line looks. It says Lost Path. That's a pretty good description. Very troubled trip. I thought he had a look in the stake, just in too tough. The runner-up Scipio came back to win. Back in with maidens. Kimura was named to ride, so you got a rider change there to Rispoli. I'm going to single those 2. And then, Scott, we get to another Pleasanton South in race number 5. I'm going to use 2 horses here, 6 and 7. Roses Are Blue, the horse to beat for Cedro Tamayo, but I like the pattern here on Crystal Proof. And by that, I mean an 8-year-old mare was away for over a year for Ruby Thomas. All the Thomases are good trainers who are based up north. Looks to me like a classic. Give a horse a race the last time. Get fit where no one's going to claim him for 12.5. Now you drop for 5. The rider comes down to ride, and you got a steady work tab since. And if someone takes the horse for 5, she's 8 years old. I think she's super live today, Scott. So that is a $40 ticket. I need some prices around 2 short price singles.
And you can find that ticket. Just go ahead and punch it in the FanDuel Racing app, or you can make adjustments to Kurt's ticket, add to it, subtract from it, however you want to approach it. Yeah,
toss it with the
ignore
50s in the backtrack.
Exactly.
Just pile up stuff that we're tossing today.
Throw the salt over your shoulder.
Exactly.
All the rest of it. No hats on the bed.
Oh, I hadn't heard that one.
That's another one.
Oh.
My father had a lot of superstitions, and to this day, anytime I see a hat on the bed, I get on my daughters or my wife.
Wow.
Like, what are you doing? Do not put a hat on the bed.
Wow, I didn't hear that one. I got to change because I was just at my place getting some stuff, and there was at least 7 or 8 hats on my bed because I was tossing some hats, and no wonder I haven't been going good.
Report back.
Those are gone tonight.
Might be why you didn't hit the early pick 5 yesterday. When
that
you
might be a very big part of it.
What, $50 winner?
Yeah, $60 winner to kick it off and somehow messed that up. But I never heard the hat one.
Yep.
It might explain a lot of things about my life recently.
I think that's more of a cowboy thing,
Is it?
if I'm not mistaken.
Okay.
Because I've encountered a lot of Western folks, and they're in tune with that. You don't put a hat on the bed. All right, here in race number 1, 2 minutes to post. The pick 5 pool now over $250,000, $253,001, according to the graphic here at Santa Anita. As we get a long look at the number 10 horse, that is Mr. Leisure for Tim Yachtine with Flavian in the saddle. He'll be boarding a plane here in the coming days to head to South Florida to pick up an Eclipse Award, given the year that he had in 2024, and something that he has been aiming at by making the journeys back east and getting into bards like Chad Brown, among others, and taking advantage of those opportunities. And after the Saratoga meet that he had in the Breeders' Cup weekend that he had, the vast majority will have already submitted those votes, as we were required to some weeks ago, for him to be top jockey of 2024.
It probably won't be, Todd, but I would think it'd be unanimous. I mean, I just can't see, right? I just don't see possibly voting for anybody else. Somebody will, of course, but it's going to be close to the unanimous, I would think.
In my opinion, too, of Torpedo Anna should be
slam dunk, Scott.
Should be unanimous as well.
I heard you say that. We were showing the piece you guys did sitting by the campfire down at Del Mar, and I couldn't agree with you more. I just don't know how you could vote for anybody else but Torpedo Anna. But there were baseball voters who didn't vote for the late Ricky Henderson for the first time for his initials. So some people just don't know what they're looking at, Scott. I have to leave it at that.
We're going to take a quick pause and come back in about 10 seconds and welcome in some viewers from the Mid-Atlantic Sports Network 2. You're watching FanDuel TV. We're going nowhere.